bonsoir à tous. Petit stream tranquille pour ceux qui s'ennuient, qui sont sur la télé. On a les LCS qui sont en train de se dérouler EU là. Deuxième journée de ce split numéro 8. Donc la 8ème semaine des LCS où, pour le rappel, nous avons SK en tête, suivi de Fnatic et des H2K il me semble. Suivi des Unicorn of Love dans le top. C'est ça hein, si je me trompe pas. Et les Gambit. Bref, un bon top 5. Oh là là, ok, excusez-moi, j'ai un écho, c'est terrible. J'avais un écho, c'est terrible. Du coup, on va tout simplement se mater la rediff. Je vais vous laisser regarder si vous le souhaitez. Et puis voilà, je vous souhaite des bons LCS, les gars. Have fun!
You can use that information to your advantage. Obviously, it's been a few months ago they played together, so things could have changed, and we don't know how Noxiag and Mr. Alice has really changed.
Attendez, je vous le remets.
If they have changed the playstyle at all.
Paul's individual performance has stepped up. He really didn't show up in the opening few weeks. And there was obviously team difficulties causing trouble, and a lot of trading here between Corey and Ryu. Keep catching glimpses of skill shots being blasted back and forth, and we did also catch Lulex picking up the first crab of the game in the top half of the river.
Yeah,
Or they have opportunity in the bottom.
Another strong point about Nuno. He can really clear those extremely fast when he gets in there. Gets the extra goal, and of course more information, which allows you to play more aggressive now in your two solo lanes. As you have double ward in the river, and obviously Horo on Rek'Sai. If they expect him to do a full clear, he drops fairly low, and therefore you would always assume he's going back to base, which means you can delay your ward timing a little bit more. And then around, oh, get two of them.
Advantage Lulex,
Yeah.
he's got crabs.
And then around the 4-minute mark, you go down and you place your ward instead. You finally got to use it, didn't you?
8 weeks! 8 weeks I've been waiting! Sorry, producer. I'll take the slap for that.
Wow,
Corey
Corey.
gets eaten by the charm. Ryu's thrown down the ignite, but he gets stunned up as the death ray from Corey goes out. Charm's low, Ryu rather, was low on mana. Decides not to flash in, but that was a good skill shot from the Dark.
Yeah, we have to remember here, Corey, he likes to run Ghost and Flash, which makes you a little bit weaker in the lane. You don't have that combat summoner to help you, and therefore he's often just aiming to sit and farm, not really do a whole lot, and he likes to also upgrade fairly quickly to his second Hex Core item, so he gets both the upgraded E and Q, just for even more mobility in these fights, because he's often the guy protecting himself. Now he does have Noxiag to help him out, obviously, and now he's the first gank. Penguin has been placed from Horo, and he's going in on Ryu.
Chilling Smite, insta-flash. Summon a spell blown, successful game from Horo.
No ward placed yet from Ryu here, so because they were expecting Horo to go back to base after his initial clear, he did delay it. Otherwise, like 3:22:25 is where you are expecting a jungle to have double buff and potentially gank you the first time. That's where you want to have your first set of wards down. But did delay it and simply didn't find the time apparently to place, and therefore had to flash away. Lulex not really been helping, he's just been farming on his own, already sitting on that Trailblazer and a Ruby Crystal.
So, good start then by this jungle Nunu. You do expect him to have somewhat of an advantage of those clear speeds thanks to Consume. And something we haven't looked at yet is the JWoww versus Odoamne matchup. Both respective top laners have backed. Boots and a second Doran's Ring for Odoamne. We'll see if JWoww grabs himself the Hex Drinker, which he does. And that's turned into just a bit of a farmland. There's no real kill pressure from either until some assistance from the jungler. Though Nunu plus Lulu, going to be a tough time taking down a Gnar.
Yeah, it will. I mean, you can slow him a lot and keep chasing him, but as long as he has a tower to fall back to, he should be okay. Which is also why Nuno players often focus more on either counter ganking and gathering information of where the enemy jungler is, or simply just farm up to your Cinderhulk. In this case, from Lulex, again, I'm expecting early Sidestone, because Nuno really is one of those junglers who can shut down an aggressive one. You see here, so Horde jumps him. All he's going to do is just snowball him in the face and run away. Like, that's all you do. So there's no real kill pressure for Horo on Lulex in a one-on-one. So you can always play very aggressive and keep getting information. Rallis, though, taking a lot of damage.
Oh, I got a bit excited there, Deficio. Kiana and Kasink come out ahead. Who got the crab? Did we actually keep track of that? It was a blue side. So Horo actually got his hands on the Scuttle Crab after that little trade. And as you rightly pointed out, some of the spells traded. But it's a lot of back and forth between his lanes, not garnering first blood yet.
Already got a bit of a annoying back time for him. When you play Victor, the problem is you need 1,000 gold at least when you're back the first time because you want to upgrade your Hex Core. and it doesn't really have any build path. It's just straight 1,000 gold. There you go. So you can't like go back on 800 or 850, get a codex, get a potion, and come back to lane. No, you need the 1,000 gold, and it also means you often won't get any potions if you have to go back right on that mark. So you can see for him only a ward being picked up. Otherwise, if he does take a bit of poke damage, he will not be able to sustain himself in that lane, giving all the pressure over to Rio if he manages to land another charm. But still, again, this Nuno, one of the reasons Nuno is so good in this patch is just he can control aggressive junglers so well. As we saw before, you just snowball the guy in the face and you run away. You can walk into his jungle, you get an early side stone, you place a few deep wards, and you see this Rek'Sai every time. And if Rek'Sai doesn't make plays early on, he gets outscaled compared to a Nuno in the late game. There's a very big difference on the impact you have in fights, where Nuno buffing up a hyper carry obviously is a lot better than a Rek'Sai.
Yeah, and we saw that happening yesterday several times, in fact. The Nunu just outscaling the respective opponents. And for H2K, you know, you touched on the fact both of these comps want to scale the for show, and how H2K have got all these tools to disengage. The fact that MYM don't have the hardest engage is actually going to make H2K's mid to late game quite a lot more powerful. Having the Lulu, having the Nunu, having the Janna, on the condition they play the disengage correctly. They have to zone appropriately and make sure they don't double stack.
Which is why for both teams in this game here, it's going to be so much about pre-planning objectives, getting in there first and setting up your ward control around it. Because if you see from MYM side, if they don't get in first and spot H2K moving in, then they're never going to get an opening to engage. At the same time for H2K, if they can't see where the enemy team is coming, there's always the risk of you getting flanked, suddenly your AD carry dies and your whole comp falls apart. And also you play this Ahri, which we know in the mid game, she wants to sit in these bushes here, assassinate people. So it's going to be so much about timing objectives and who gets there first to set up the vision control.
So we did see H2K marginally ahead on the vote, as well as securing that first dragon of the game, thanks to some deep wards in the MYM jungle. And a small raptor stolen away by Ryu. Tad cheeky, and I actually quite like Horo's tunnel network he's built up for himself. I think it says a lot about the jungler's playstyle based on the concentration of tunnels. Horo with a little bit of a heavier stack towards the mid lane in case of any aggression from Ryu onto Corey.
Yeah, we don't want to protect this immobile Victor in the laning phase, but we can see here already for Corey now. Second upgrade on the Hex core. Obviously the Q, which has now been skilled up for him. So a lot of focus on that early mobility, no items coming in, so he's extremely squishy if you do catch him out. But because it's a Nuno jungle, he's not really feeling too afraid, honestly, and that's why he can do what he's doing now.
So 10 minutes on the clock, about to tick over, even on gold. No kills, no towers, just a lonely dragon in favor of H2K. All the lanes as even as they can be in terms of CS, but Horo jumping in. Was that to defend a ward?
Yeah, he had a pink ward that Lulix was trying to clear. It's going to be the same again. Lulix is not afraid of him. He can always escape from a Rek'Sai. Just sit back and farm, protect your carries, go to late game, or at least go to mid game where Ryu can become strong on the Ahri, and you get a Trinity Force on Yanin as well.
So we'll see who's going to make use of that mid game power spike more. You'd like to think Trinity Force Cog should do a little bit more than Jinx with the makings of an IH. But H2K, you know what, yesterday they actually had a good plan against Elements. They did get the outer towers down. The problem for H2K, they suffered losses in return. Every time they got an objective, Elements replied with one of their own. And H2K never got a sizable lead until 20 minutes. It was around 2K, and then they instantly lost in a very big team fight. So business as usual for H2K. Even at 10 minutes, they grow a lead over the preceding 10. We'll see if they can do it again.
Just also two comps who doesn't really aim to do anything in the early game. Just make it a bit of a farm fest, where the focus is more on the early warding. You can see how H2K putting all the focus on the bottom side, because your Lulu, well, Lulu is a champion who can't even get shot down, and she can still be extremely useful, so she's not the key component to this composition here from H2K. It's again more about Yanan and how well he can farm. So you have double ping ward on the side towards the bottom, and you see Lulix keep invading into the jungle here as well, place these wards. So Horo doesn't really have any lane he can gank properly. It's extremely tough for Victor to set up a gank on an Ahri with double dash. Obviously he did not a Lulu matchup. No, that's going to be a tricky one as well for him. So it's going to be a bit of a farm base for the junglers. Now, good little trade here by Rio.
Well, Farmerama seems to be the name of the day. Siphon Power Shield from Corey means he actually comes out ahead in that trade. 2 stacks on that Hex core working in his favor. We do see Horo hanging out in the tri-bush. There's a lot of disengagement. All the summoners available for Kasing if needed. And wisely enough, they're playing super defensively. So the longer this laning phase goes, the more comfortable both teams will be. They're waiting for item breakpoints before they look for any sort of engages. Which team comp do you prefer? At 20 minutes, at 30 minutes, at 40 minutes? Those are the big spikes, the big time scales.
Yeah, so full late game, I'm going to prefer the H2K one, simply because they have so much protection for Yana in here, and he's going to be nearly impossible to kill. Yes, there's a lot of magic damage on their side, but they still have plenty of physical just from Yana itself, and he's going to be the guy melting people. But before that, it's so much, I know it sounds boring, but it's so much about pre-planning objectives.
Okay.
Because whoever has that vision control around the dragon when it spawns can set up the correct fight. Either it's going to be kiting from H2K or finding a flank from MYM side. So it's pretty tough to say at this point. First dragon obviously to H2K is great, and with this Lulu already investing so much into wards and just being annoying, he will be able to get to that dragon as well beforehand.
Wow, that Ice Blast did a whole lot of damage from Lulex. Not obviously ranked up very much, but we did see the tower. Odoamne's done a great job in the top lane of hammering that one away. Both of these teams have played with great objective control in recent weeks. H2K probably the best objective team over the last month in Europe. And Meet Your Makers, honestly, just going from strength to strength. From a team that was bullied around at the beginning of the splits, they're looking more and more like a legitimate contender.
Yeah.
As Europe always tends to have.
Well, it was a team who always had good players. I mean, Corey was never considered a bad player in the mid lane. Mr. Riley, we knew he could carry as well. JWoww has been a good addition to the team, and Horo has basically all split long performed well. They just didn't have any shot calling or teamwork. Like, that was the problem. And it's clear lately they've been getting better and better. Ever since Noxiac joined, the calling has been better. Yesterday, one of the reasons they managed to win against Gambit was very good decision making in some key situations. So definitely improvements for them. The question is just, is it enough and is it in time to save yourself? Because they most likely, I think we can almost guarantee they will drop down to relegation at least, but then they get a chance.
Yeah, well, for MYM, they're currently tied 1-1 with Giants, and they're currently tied in the standings at 4-11. So for Meet Your Makers, as we've touched on, if they finish the same scoreline as Giants at the end of the split, it is a tiebreaker for automatic relegation in 10th position and a spot in the promotion tournament in 9th position. You heard Horo, he wants to avoid auto relegation. But for Meet Your Makers, if they pick up a win and build up that game buffer, the pressure is then all on Giants.
Oh, looks like a bit alone here, trying to fight for the control around the Dragons. Yeah, both teams have a few deep wards, obviously way deeper from H2K side. But there's one just around the blue buff of H2K placed from MYM. That's where they're going to try and set up that teleport flank. But from JWoww, yeah. Again, he has to time the Meganar correctly for it. And obviously H2K doesn't really need to go in there and do it now because they're getting pressure on the mid tower. They have obviously the top tower being poked down a lot as well. So you don't have to start the dragon on H2K side. You can wait longer, go in for a second round, clear the few wards from MYM, and then once you have full control, you can set it up.
Well, 15 minutes has just passed, official. Let's touch on some item points. Spectre's Carl, Hex Drinker picked up for JWoww versus the Morella Nomicon. We see Bomby Cinder, Trailblazer for Lulix is getting his way towards Cinderhold, whereas Horo has completed that Warrior enchantment. Makings of Abyssal for Corey versus Morella Nomicon. So these big spikes are starting to work out. Noxiac does have some support from Horo. Prey Seeker's being thrown out, but I think the numbers advantages with H2K. This is going to be an uncontested dragon from the looks of things. So that is number 2. And H2K maintain control of the dragon pits.
Whoever pre-plans the objectives the best is going to win this game. 2 now for H2K. Not looking good for Meet Your Makers. Not really been looking to do a whole lot either. And as we have said so many times, Nuno can control a Rek'Sai really well. That's basically what happened. No real lane for him to gank. Couldn't invade into the jungle either because they haven't been winning any of the lanes, which is still one of the problems about their composition. Didn't really have any directly winning matchups. We know top tower is really low for Meet Your Makers. Can be pushed down by Odoamne and Lulex if he decides to join. Same can honestly be said for every lane at this point. And we know H2K likes to do it around the mid game. That's where they start going for auto turrets. Take the top lane first, then you swap down to the bottom lane, you clear that one, then you swiftly move around the map and get a few towers.
So I just took a look at the hit points. Top lane, Meet Your Makers towers down to 400 hit points. Mid lane, down to around 500 hit points, and bottom lane around 2,000. So Mr. Rolls and Noxiac have done a better job at fending off the aggression with that Jinx plus Braum combo. Ryu is going to dash in Spirit Rush, flash away from Corey. There's still a Ghost available if Corey needs some sort of support. And Ryu, unable to do anything with that third charge. So still no kill on the board as we're approaching 17 minutes.
This was one of the concerns, I guess, about the new patch with the tank junglers and the very late game setups. Obviously, it wasn't a problem yesterday at all. There was so much action going on. It seemed just two teams picking more for this late game. No kill pressure in the lanes, and yeah, again, it's why you have that farm fest.
That's what both of these team compositions want to do. Expected this in picks and bans. It's shining through numbers, even in top, even jungle. 15 difference in the mid lane, and even AD carry. Truthfully, there's not a whole lot to write home about. Void Rush, Farm Alarm from Horo.
Just mentioned how H2K can just put Lulix in the top lane and fast push down the tower. Horo's gonna go there to try and defend. It's just a few hits though, and they can keep doing this over and over and simply force Horo to sit on the top side of the map, wait for that dragon to respawn before they reposition. Obviously no real threat in any of the other lanes. I mean, now Noxiac kissing will hit him at least. About as action-packed as it's going to get right there. But Horde though, he's coming in now. Rio has to jump away. Both teleports.
Teleports from both top laners cancelled, in fact. Now JWoww eats a charm. Ryu's gone back in, but he's forced to flash away. That's a flash from Gnar as he gnaws Ryu and Kasing into the wall. Ryu looking like he's going down. 300 hit points as he gets the blood boil to try to run away. Absolute zero. Channel to slow everybody in place, and Ryu is still alive at 18 and a half minutes. We have no kills on the board.
They were so close here. Both top laners teleport, and then Odom, he canceled because you get that top tower. He's pushing for the tier 2 as well here. Small miscommunication at first, but H2K, they got out alive here. And Lulix managed to show us his swag moves under the tower.
Got themselves that first objective and a good few hundred hit points onto that inner turret in the top lane. We're about to hit 20 minutes on the clock into Fishio. Trinity Force completed, plus a needlessly large rod Odoamne. H2K have the item advantage.
And exactly like yesterday, as soon as Yana gets the Trinity Force, or at least the Sheen, he starts moving around. He doesn't care about getting the bot lane tower. No, he wants the easy ones. Obviously, mid lane have been poked down, the top lane have been poked down earlier. So 2 quick towers, and instantly H2K is in the lead. Dragon in a few minutes, that's obviously going to be the next objective. And then they go for the bottom lane after. It's very textbook from them. And the concern is simply that MYM doesn't really seem to have any way of responding. They just used the teleport. It was a good ulti from JWoww. Oh, you just saw the power of the disengage of a Janna, of a Nunu.
Yeah.
Even an Ari jumping around. How tough it is to take down a target.
The recipe was all there for Mecha Makers. I'm all about cooking references this week. I gotta try and get that out of my head. But we're about to hit 20 minutes, 2,000 gold lead for H2K. We broke down the numbers, we broke down the stats, and as a team, H2K are usually, in fact, 2,500 gold ahead at this point. So marginally behind their average. But they've also been held at arm's length. I think MYM have, gone even. Sure. Kept them on hand. But the Dragon advantage and the Tower advantage, obviously, for H2K.
And that's going to be the thing, though, for MYM here. Going later into the game, they do have a composition that scales really well. You got double tank, you got Victor, you got Jinx, so that's great. And you have a lot of burst damage from Victor and Jinx Rocket together. So if there is a misposition from H2K, then some of them will die and they can still lose the fights. It's not like guaranteed you're going to win late game with the protected AD carry comp. You really have to play it well, and someone's just going to rely on Yana here and how he can play around it, because he's going to be the focus. We know a Victor late game can mill people.
Well, talk about Hyanan and look at the poke he's already done to Mr. Rolls. Lulix finds himself running into Noxiac and Horo in the jungle. H2K grouping up. There is an outer turret remaining. H2K do not approve, do not like that, and seem to be sending some resources to set the target in their sights.
And not only are they looking for the bot lane, they're also again looking for control around the dragon. They get it already just by keep playing the ward in this tri-bush. Now the next one is going to be this pink ward around the red buff of H2K. So if you just group together a few members, you should be able to clear that one out like they're doing now. If Rhea would hit it, there we go. And going for Corey.
I think we're about to find out for first blood. Will it be Corey? Chaos Storm goes down. Ryu forced to get the wild growth, and it's the absolute zero that gets the one on the board. Lulix then finds Koro in the jungle, and Ryu gets all of those shields still alive. Is JWoww forced away? Horus flashed in for this one. They've got one back. That's a massive glacial fissure as H2K get knocked in the air. Noxiac and JWoww in full retreat, but the Mega Gnar is about to pop. Playing closer and closer as Mr. Rolls joins the fight. They end up trading 1 for 1. It was Lulix that got first blood at 21 and a half minutes.
That was the latest first blood, all split long. We had to wait 21 minutes. But Corey did go down, did a lot of damage in return. Rio was a 1-for-1 trade at least. Odomna has teleport ready if he goes back to base. He should be able to come down and stop this dragon, but looks like H2K gone back to the lanes instead. And we'll give this one over to Meteor Makers despite having that teleport advantage after the fight.
So first dragon locked in rather. Well played by Meteor Makers. The Fisher.
That was an important one for them.
Yep, highlighted it. 6% as they scale.
And Symbiotes are just denying that potential fifth one now for H2K. Do still think H2K could have stopped it. No real reason to give that one up for free in this case. See Sokiseng getting himself a soul stealer when there's only been 2 kills in the game. It's gonna take a while to stack it.
On the bright side.
But hey, he's not gonna die either.
On the bright side, a bit of commitment maybe to the aggressive plays. He did just pick it up 20 seconds ago. Nothing else really surprising itemization-wise. I think a lot of praise to Odomna. They got that death cap completed plus the lucidity boots. Lulux getting beefier and beefier as Noxiac
Going Righteous Glory.
does get caught out by that charm, but H2K unable to find anything else. And really,
Connected.
it's just an arms race between Meteor Makers and H2K.
It's all about killing these poor wards here.
Error.
Every time, so many of them are just dying left and right. Noxiac doing his best to defend it.
Trust the ex-support main to be depressed by that state.
Yeah.
User entered your channel.
I mean, you get a
User
special
left
bond
your
to these
channel.
wards here. At least back in Season 3, it was the way you felt relevant in your team. Like, look guys, I'm warding, it's fine, I'm here.
Error.
And then you died. Every time.
The Eye of Sauron oracles must have been the bane of your existence.
It was.
I wonder how many of our viewers remember those times.
Back when supports only got a side stone and an oracle and they were basically done. And there was,
Yeah.
they just ran around clearing wards, putting out wards
You
every
wouldn't
time.
get involved. Oh, that was a little close. Wouldn't get involved in a team fight at the risk of losing your oracles.
Oh. You at least stay very far back. That's
So
also how you
such-
got a high KDA, so...
Such primitive times. We
Yeah,
were.
it was simple. Simple
Channel
times.
switched.
Sona was played as one of the best supports. How times have
Microphone
changed.
muted.
You never know. Always possible to have a return.
Excusez-moi pour les sons TS. Je m'en excuse, j'avais quelques petits soucis avec un joueur qui était dans mon channel.
Returned in
Et ça a créé quelques petits
glorious
soucis
fashion.
techniques. C'est fini.
Righteous Glory has been picked up for Lulux.
On revient à notre petit
It's an
match.
engaged Nunu, Deficio. I love it. Blood Boil plus Righteous. He's going to get in there and channel at absolute zero.
Yeah.
I'm a believer.
It's just gonna allow
Hey,
Yanin to
wake
go
up.
crazy in the late game. Just keep feeding him everything. He will carry the game for you. So Rio got this bot lane tower. Swapped him down. 2 or 3 people in the crowd clapping.
It's called a golf clap.
Great.
That's it.
We got the tower.
But it's also, it's H2K standard.
It's what they need, it's what they have
Yep.
to do. I mean, they're doing everything they should do right here. Okay, except for giving up that one last dragon, but they got their 3 outer turrets, they got all the farm they need on the 80 carry, 255 CS. It's basically what they need to do in a protect the 80 carry comp.
So, Meteor Makers need to decide, do they place defensive vision and try to predict where H2K are going to be moving into the jungle, knowing the outer towers are down? Do they place focus on Baron? Do they place focus on Dragon? Or do MYM opt to go for the outer towers themselves? Because truthfully, Meteor Makers have not made a concerted effort to get H2K's towers down. There's a lot of options for both of these teams available.
Yeah.
And I want to see where they prioritize their time.
The worst thing for them now is when you lose your outer turret yourself, suddenly you don't really have anywhere you can retreat easily. And when against a Blood Boil, 80 carry, and Righteous Glory Nunu, you are gonna get chased and you're gonna get run down basically if you take a bad fight. So it means you have to move your wards even further up and into the entrance of the enemy jungle to properly see if they're coming from a flank. And MYM is not gonna get in that position because they simply haven't had the control. They have 1 ward now around the mid lane, meaning they don't really have anywhere they can go. And we can see how H2K is simply deciding, with this group as 4 guys here, keep pushing it down, get a mid tower.
Trading towers 1 for 1. Inner turret secured by H2K. Top tower secured by Meteor Makers. But you saw Glacial Fisher from Noxiac used just to try to defend against that tower going down, but it simply wasn't enough.
It's a bit unfair for him because you're gonna give Whimsy as well to Yanin. So he's insanely fast when he's moving around, and the Braum is not gonna be able to hit him. But what MYM has to do at this point is simply, you need to get a ward around the Baron just to make sure H2K doesn't go quickly there and you're going for Dragon. And then you gotta try and make your way to this Dragon here, properly set up a few wards and hope that H2K is feeling too confident and they simply walk into the dragon area, starting to get the vision down themselves, and then you catch them, you win the fight, you get the second dragon, and that opens up for you to take a tower suddenly.
You always make it sound so easy to fish.
It is definitely not easy.
Makers group themselves up as 4 in the middle lane. H2K able to wave clear effectively enough and hold off the onslaught on the tower. Makers backed away, and again, look at the vision. Keep your eyes on that minimap. Every few seconds, vision is going to determine who gains control of this matchup. Although, let's be fair, H2K are in control. They've got themselves a marginal lead. They are the ones forcing NYM to respond. And so far, the answer has been a whole lot of we're not sure.
H2K have done a good job at least of forcing them away from these objectives. Nearly every time. There's quite a few pink wards in the jungle, so NYM here has a good route to the dragon itself. And they got quite some poke down on Odoamne and Lulex. Obviously, Lulex is just going to consume a minion, and he's fine. Jonan fairly low in mana, so that we might see an opening for NYM to fight here. They still got to get that right engage, and you need the Mega now for.
And look at the two side lanes as well. You've got a big minion wave built up for H2K, making its way to that inner turret. Look, Ryu's already responding. Top wave, I believe, is pushing in favor for H2K towards NYM, so that's going to be a nice slow push. Smart play from H2K in terms of managing those minions. Teleport from JWoww in that bottom lane though, so keep that in mind if an engagement to break out. It'll take longer for Ryu to respond.
Oh, JWoww jumping in and Ryu here. Trying to chunk him down, forces ulti, then suddenly the fight is a lot easier for Meteor Makers.
Well, Spirit Rush has to be used from Ryu just to get to safety. JWoww did have Mega Gnar popped. It is currently ticking down. That's Rage meter below half. That's a big Glitter Lance. Monsoon is out. Noxiac, he's got him with the Glacial Fissure. Kasing is the focus, but nobody's down yet. Absolute Zero being channeled as Anar throws H2K against the wall. It's Ryu that drops Odoamne. It was the members that started the fight that end the fight. Meteor Makers remain on the Dragon as H2K are looking to re-engage. 2,000 hit points still on Dragon as it's ticking away. We do see Corey throwing out the Chaos Storm, and nobody's dropped yet. Dragon number 2 secured by Meteor Makers, and you do see H2K picking up the kill.
I'm gonna see our lovely guys eating some more cake here. Well, again, NYM, they get what they need here. They stop that potential 5th Dragon. Did have to sacrifice JWoww for it. We saw again how hard it is. There was a lot of flashes being blown on getting that one, or trying to get that one kill. They even didn't work for them. And H2K have to now reset the whole game. So all these minions being built up in a top wave is going to be collected now by Meteor Makers. So that was a very important play for them again. They would have been terrible. Had H2K stayed in that mid lane, these minions on the top side would have done a lot of work on that tower on their own. Obviously also credit to JWoww for starting that fight on Ryu, forcing his ulti.
A lot of damage down early and chased it up as well.
Yeah, but that was basically like the worst spot HK could be in, because they had to blow Janna ulti, they had to blow Ahri ulti before the fight. And yet they still win the fight itself, get that one kill. Really just shows how hard it is to get to Yarnan. And he's obviously only going to get stronger and stronger once he gets Infinity Edge. Phantom Dancer potential later. It's going to melt right through you.
Really like the Flash Fissure from Noxiac. Trying to create some disruption, but it just wasn't enough. Meteor Makers trying to find themselves a way back into this game. We've just crossed the 30-minute mark. H2K, 4,000 gold in the lead. 3 towers, the advantage. Soul Stealer paying off. 1 assist to Kasing's name.
Insane.
It is brilliant. Ryu plus Lulex actually doing a lot of work to this tower. It is 5.5, so no longer got that 200 hit point shield.
Got 300 more HP though. But yeah.
That it does, that it does.
That's very true.
Does manage to take out the tower very easily.
Fast pushing you can jump while pulling an AD carry. Another good setup. When you push the mid lane, you push the bottom lane. Because you know you're stronger, you can very easily just take the short route through the enemy jungle and down to push the tower before they can move around and defend. Another well-executed play from H2K. And really, again, it's all about towers, it's all about wards, it's all about playing safe. Because H2K here, they obviously want to show that despite them losing yesterday to Elements, then they are still one of the top teams here in Europe with SK and Fnatic winning their games. H2K can't really afford to fall further behind if they want to reach the top 2.
That's definitely the case. At the moment, H2K, 10 wins, 5 losses on the split. They are setting themselves up for a potential tiebreaker matchup with Fnatic. H2K are 0-1 against Fnatic, but they're one game behind. So if you assume the records are similar and H2K beat Fnatic, you could have a tiebreaker for that second seed, that second automatic berth into the semi-finals.
So M1M right now
championship points.
need to start reading the waves a lot better. They saw Ryu walk all the way up to the middle of this top lane here, bounce back the wave and start pushing it down, and nobody has reacted before now. So this tower is gone as well. They're moving a little bit too slowly, but Jaguar is now teleported behind in mini now. Let's see if he can do anything.
Well, we'll see if they can make it work. 5 members of H2K in full retreat. Na is charging. Noxiac gets chunked way down. He is down before the Glacial can even get out. Absolute Zero used to zone out members of Nature Makers on the left, while the rest of H2K are running down the Na. That tiny little dinosaur's trying to get away, forced to hop to safety. There's a massively flying past Jahan, and they do manage to get the single kill. A little bit messy, but once again H2K with the team fight win. Mega Knot timing not working out again in recent patches.
And Kasing getting a second stack on that
Second
Soul
stack.
Stealer. Keep following it. Baiting up the Baron now. Scrying up is on cooldown for Raleigh, so they're gonna have to face check.
Well, insta flash from Corey. Doesn't want to get caught out. We do see the gravity fields. You see the Chaos Storm coming out. Lulex dropped down to about 1,500 HP. Hyanan gets killed by the zap as the Monsoon is used to regen everyone. But lack of engage, lack of CC. H2K can't find MYM. MYM can't stick to H2K because of the disengage. You have these prolonged, awkward fights. Oh, Ryu jumps over the wall. Does manage to stay alive. Still holding on to the flash. Catches the charm onto Jawa. Jawa about to go Mega Horo. Knocks Ryu up in the air. Flash still available from Ryu. Not even going to use it. Did it the last second. Not going to be enough though. Now, H2K are in trouble. They're split up. Hyanan's been exhausted. Fisher's knocked him up. They're trying to take him out. Then he's down. Mr. Rolls has got himself a double. And Meteor Makers have cracked this game wide open as they set their sights on Baron.
Yo, why did H2K just start the Baron here? They got one kill on the support who'd already respawned, and they were down 0 mana and Hyanan. A lot of the members were pretty low on HP as well. And then they start their Baron here a little bit too greedy. They don't have to. Don't worry, you got a fantastic late game already. Let's see it again. Ryu jumping in his own realize there's already 4 guys. We see Noxiac has already rejoined his team. And everyone from H2K already taking quite a lot of damage of being very low on mana. So this gave an opening at least for MYM to get a few kills. Not sure they got any objective. They didn't get the Baron, and Dragon hadn't spawned yet either. So you might see another fight for that one. But there's a lot of summoners as well blown from H2K, giving MYM an opening they shouldn't be able to get.
You know, just one of the weaknesses of H2K's comp. If they're not there to stack and layer all of that disengage, they need to protect Hyanan. Did not work out. So H2K was a little bit of control, but as you rightly pointed out, MYM in fact did not go for the Baron, didn't commit to the risky play.
Kasing lost some stacks. Not looking good on that little
Really not. 0-1-3. He's still got 5 stacks though.
Yeah,
right?
he's
Unless
fine.
my math
He's still
is
fine.
horrible.
Still fine.
Yeah. So he's still in a good position. Got himself the Ardent Sensor as well. An item we don't see a whole lot.
I'm gonna make a prediction. He's gonna end the game on 20 stacks.
Okay. And at what time is that? Come on.
When the game's
I mean,
over.
You hung out. No. Come on. You hung out with the Prophet himself. Crumbs would expect a bigger effort from you.
All right.
20 stacks at
50
roughly.
52 minutes.
Okay. Hashtag that. 20 stacks, 52 minutes. According to Deficio, we're talking about Kasing. We'll see if he can make that work. At the moment, H2K 4,000 gold lead. Still got a 5 tower advantage, 1 dragon advantage. But H2K have slowed down just a little, and MYM, they keep looking to stop those team fights.
H2K can just go back to pushing. Well, so I guess the problem for them now is you got all the outer turrets down, so you can no longer play around the minion control really well. You can no longer play around enemy, or well, taking over the enemy jungle, which is what they've done, taking down these outer turrets, simply just being way better at looking at the side lanes and knowing when to go push a tower than MYM has been to defend them. So now when it's the base, you have to open up. There's no longer that, short the distance advantage in moving between towers, meaning they have to, or feel like they have to force these objectives. I don't think they have to, honestly. You can still go down towards the tower with 5 members, get Hyanan in with a few hits on a tower every time, and there's still no hard engage on MYM to jump you.
Yeah, especially with Blood Boil as well as the Ardent Sensor passive. I mean, Kasing's got that plus 25% attack speed rather on shields and heals. Deficio What's your take on the item? We don't see it all too often. But it works in this style of comp.
I mean, normally I think it's a horrible item, but seeing as
I
again,
wasn't expecting that.
you are protecting your AD carry, and you can want to buff mob even more, I guess in that case it does make sense for Kasing.
Well, Oro's in trouble. Does manage to get the face of the mountain shield. Glacial Fissure used to defend him. There's a Spirit Rush from Ryu. They run him down. MYM unable to protect their jungler, as their team comp is simply not built to do the same thing. H2K, one man to the good, setting up in the death bush. These Meet Your Makers wondering, pondering, dreaming. Is there a Baron? Noxiac dashes over to the teammate. Remember, no Fissure available.
Mega now,
Mega is about to pop an H2K.
disengage.
Peel away and back away. Kasing got another stack on his Soul Stealer. And we'll see if he can hit that. 20 and 52.
14 more to go, yeah.
20
more
and
to go.
52. That was the prediction.
H2K backstyling this Baron here. They really don't have to keep forcing bot.
Whoa!
Need to get a kill for it. In this case, it works out. Now they're just gonna get it as well. So all they were doing here is just simply waiting, baiting MYM to come in and trying to stop it, and then they would pick up a kill. I get worried the game might not go to 52 minutes.
Well, H2K gonna secure Baron. 38-15. One more stack for Kasing. 0-1-5. And slowly closer and closer. With Baron and the ability to just shred towers with Hyanen's Cogmore. H2K surely have to start setting up the siege. They're sitting on a lot of unspent gold. If you actually take a look at it, 2,500 for Ryu, 2,000 for Hyanen. Ryu's actually once again Spirit rushed in. Tower is being melted down to half. Mr. Rolls dropped in HP, and it looks like they've got the objective.
Yeah, you see what Ryu is doing here. He's just jumping in to get all the focus on him, allowing Yana to just hit the tower. Yana didn't hit anyone else. Just go straight for tower here, buff him up anyway. You got that insane OP Ardent Sensor to give him even more attack speed, and then he just destroys the tower. So Ryu just buying a bit of time, being a good teammate here, drawing all the focus as well. So that was a very quick tower. No kills though.
Do you see the strategy? Throw the Orb of Deception to run to the farm wave quicker. And this is some gorgeous farm.
Oh, can he defend the tower?
I don't know, that's low. Couple more hits. Hey!
Ah, it's alive.
16 hit points. You see, if Ryu had not used those Orbs of Deception to run there quicker, that tower would have gone down.
All right.
Next level, ladies and gentlemen.
Just don't do it all the time if you run out of mana, guys. Quick tip, I tried it in solo queue.
I love solo queue stories with the Fisher. That's some of my favorite.
Got to play some pretty cool games. People are very nice when I'm playing with them, so I like that. Unless I'm playing with Panky. And it all goes wrong.
Well, we'll expand on that later. 40 minutes. H2K continue to grow their lead, continue to maintain control of the game. Massive items picked up. JWoww got that Frozen Mallet, Void Staff, the makings of what I expect to be an Hourglass from Corey from that Need to See Large Run, and Last Whisper was picked up. Corey is down 6 stacks on Kasing's Medjais. We are tracking this 12 minutes to get the remaining 12 and see if we can make Deficio mini profits. I'm not a big believer though, as Odoamne is pushing top, the rest of H2K are pushing bottom, and Supers are doing the work in the middle.
I'm not believing either. After they got that Baron, that was really the opening for them to just start pushing down on the tower here. So H2K really just been playing it well. They've been doing everything they should do, not taking any chances except for maybe starting that one of those Barons. That's been the only one. The rest they managed to secure properly.
Deficio, something is starting to sink in for Meet Your Makers and the players. If they lose this game, they are 100% out of playoff contention. For Meet Your Makers to even stand a chance, they need to magically find a way to pull this back, but it's not looking likely. Hyanen is tearing Meet Your Makers apart. The base is destroyed, and it's looking like Meet Your Makers are done.
Still no way of getting to Hyanen. Still no flash here, I guess, for JWoww. Horror can go in, and they're going in for him now.
Well, let's take a look. Glacial Fissure thrown down to split across the team. Absolute Zero channeled, and it does Absolutely Zero. Ryu does find Horo on the back line, but they've traded jungler for jungler.
Hyanen's
Next
down.
victim, Hyanen's down. Meet Your Makers managed to hold off, defending against 5 5 of H2K. With multiple waves of super minions, this is going to be another crack defense if they want to survive this game. It really is a matter of time before H2K group up and use those super minions to their advantage, especially with Dragon number 4 about to be secured.
And the thing is, there's no locket on the side of H2K, not a whole lot of MR protection, at least for Yanin. To stop all the damage from Corey, that's obviously where you would normally gone for the locket instead of Ardent Sensor. You could have gone for the kills as well, in case Yanin should get stunned at any point. But let's see what happens. Noxic jumps in first, bolts towards Kasing and Lulix, which is the two supports. Not the best ulti from him. And obviously the flash onto Yanin. He stays alive at first, but now look at the damage coming in from Corey once he finally gets to him. The ulti's there on all 4 members. That was beautiful. And then just a Q auto attack to secure the kill. Luckily, Kasing stayed alive and saved the stacks.
7 assists for Kasing, 9 stacks and 10 minutes to find 11 more. Unless he kill steals.
That's what we need.
Unless he kill steals.
I mean, you do get, how much is it? 25 AP or 40 AP on the Ardent Sensor, so you can double your kills to a little bit more effective.
He's got that Ignite as well. We'll see if it works out. H2K on the verge of keeping a top 2 position alive. Meet Your Makers on the verge of being knocked out of playoff contention entirely. It is what was expected, let's also be fair.
Yeah, I don't think they were expecting to reach playoffs.
Correct.
They made it very clear it's
In
about
Europe,
surviving now.
Stranger things have happened.
True.
So, Super Minions barreling into the base. Double from each of the respective lanes. H2K got 3, 4 auto attacks onto the Nexus turret. It's down to a third of the hit points. Noxiac, he was the man that jumped onto Hyunin last time with an early exhaust. Not available yet for the team. And H2K actually not 100% committing to this Nexus turret, respecting the engage from each of Makers. Meganar's about to time out though. As we see Corey, he's timed out as he just gets destroyed. Noxiac is the focus of a few auto attacks. JWoww not going to be able to transform for a while. Mr. Arls gets jumped on by Ryu as the turret lasers are doing the best they can to defend. We do see that Ice Blast getting caught at. Yanin's dive all the way to the back. He's flashed forward for this one, letting the Super Minions do the work while H2K keep MYM on the Nexus turret. After 45 minutes, Deficio has proven wrong. H2K win the game and crush Meet Your Makers' playoff dreams.
Fairly simple game, honestly, here for H2K. We talked about how M1 didn't really have any clear way of engaging on H2K at any given time, and only once H2K was standing at the Baron, we saw an opening for Meet Your Makers. Otherwise, all about farming up, all about the objectives, towers, the dragons, and of course the vision control. That was basically the name of the game.
Well played from H2K. Much safer, much cleaner matchup than yesterday's game against Elements. Playing to the strengths of their team composition. And you know, it is also good to see some big smiles on the side of Meet Your Makers. Despite the fact, despite the loss, they can still avoid that automatic relegation.
Just by beating Gambit yesterday, that was all they needed, because now you look at the way Giants have been playing lately as well, a bit the same as M1. You're not expecting them to take down the top teams, and suddenly we might have that tiebreaker at the end of the split. I know Meet Your Makers is going to have to face Rocket next week, which is also going to be one of those matches down the bottom here, trying to avoid relegation and everything.
Very, very tough matchup indeed. So H2K Gaming, 1-1 on the week. Their incredible winning streak was broken yesterday.
Yeah, it would have been 10 wins now.
It would have been. It would have broken the all-time record. Fnatic still maintain the 9-game streak that was set in 2013.
Spring split.
2013. That's how long it goes.
A long time ago.
Many have tried. Many have met 8, in fact.
Yeah,
a lot of European teams
for
have
some
hit
reason,
8s.
whenever you're on 8, you just lose.
Yep.
No matter what happens,
Can't pass
you
it.
will lose. And that's how it is. Gambit did it. H2K, SK Gaming. A lot of teams this year has been close.
I think Alliance did it last year as well in summer.
Yeah, same deal.
All right, let's quickly take a look at the standings in Europe after that matchup, because as we have said, Meet Your Makers are now out of playoff contention. They are the first of the bottom 6 teams, we can say that absolutely certainly. If Elements win later today versus Gambit, MWM are in a relegation one way or the other. So that will be in the promotion tournament, or obviously that automatic relegation, depending on how things pan out with Giants. So, you know, we heard at the beginning of the day Horror saying we don't want to be automatically relegated.
Yeah.
And they seem to be playing better. That was a fairly cohesive MOM. It just wasn't enough to get over H2K.
And it's always hard to judge when you watch the Challenger Series. What's the level there between some of the teams? How will they stack up against MYM in this situation here from the LCS? So obviously, even though you had problems, even though you have been one of the worst teams in the league, it's not over once you go to relegation. We have seen time and time again the EU LCS team re-qualify. I remember Copenhagen was last year, ended up as number 8, last spot in the league, and then 3-0'd H2K to get yes, and it was very one-sided game, so it's definitely not over for medium makers.
It's interesting, right? Copenhagen Wolves in particular is one of my favorite promotion tournament teams because for some reason they find gears to perform at a level that they haven't found on the stage before. This is the first split in a long time that I think the Copenhagen Wolves have been consistently above average for the majority of the splits.
Yeah, they've been a stable mid-team.
Yeah.
They lose the teams above them and they beat the teams under them. It's that simple.
Middle of the pack squad.
So they just they're right there, like number 5, number 6, and it's where they belong. They are still in the risk of dropping out of playoffs because now Elements at least won the game yesterday, and we see Copenhagen Wolves play Fnatic later today, which is going to be such an important game. Because if Fnatic wins, suddenly the Copenhagen Wolves, it's going to be risky. And it would be awesome for them to get into the playoffs. They've been there once, then they lost and had to face Gambit in the 5th place match, and also lost that one.
Yeah, I remember that quite fondly.
Well,
Let's take a step back and talk again about H2K. We've discussed excessively about MOM and the fact they're now no longer in playoffs. For H2K, 11 wins, 5 losses. Fnatic, 11 wins, 4 losses. And again, H2K and Fnatic will be playing each other. So there's the possibility of them ending on a similar scoreline. After yesterday's loss and after today's victory, we've both said H2K were the best team in Europe at the beginning of this week.
yeah.
Do you still stand by that?
I think it's impossible to say in the new patch. I need to see more on 5.5. I've not been too impressed yet with what they're doing, but they're still running the same style. Again, against Elements, they got a few towers down early. They did everything they should early on before that fight at 19 minutes, which basically cost them the entire game. This one here, it wasn't exciting, but that's how you play and protect the AD carry comp. You focus on getting towers down, you focus on getting these objectives early, nothing else. You don't have to go and fight. So that's why the game was fairly slow, but also safe from them. And it just means slowly, and now at least it means they're going to have a week more adapting to 5.5, and then they can come back and look fantastic again like they did before, because that's the fastest average win time. On the
36 minutes across
5.4,
all of the games
5.3.
leading up to yesterday. So this doesn't include yesterday's games, but leading up to yesterday, 36 minutes, the lowest average time in the league.
So leading up to this week, they were the best team. Now, on new patch, we're going to have to see more.
Yeah, we'll have to find out if H2K can continue that strong performance. And for a closer look at that win, we're going to send it over to Shocks at the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Quick Shot. We're here with H2K's Yarnan and the man behind the curtain, Prolly. Nice tie, by the way, Prolly.
Thank you very much. I chose it myself.
Yep, I know. I was there when you actually stole the tie. No, that's not true. We gave it to you.
Yeah, it's not stealing because I'll give it back.
No. Well, looking great anyway, and congratulations on that win. Talk me through the adaptations coming in after yesterday versus that Elements game that just went array due to basically one bad fight.
So the changes that we made was mostly the jungle change and kind of how we approached the game. Because initially we really liked dragon fights and us initiating them. And we realized the way people are picking is like Annie and stuff like that, and like Leona aren't being picked as much. So people are going for more like disengage comps, which is like really aggravating to play against. So when we saw their picks, we realized like, okay, they really lack engage, kind of like we did yesterday. So we, instead of us picking more engage to kind of catch them, we're like, well, let's just make it so this guy never dies and then he gets farm and stuff.
So your plan was just to never fight basically until Kog'Maw is really strong and just go for the late game when it's impossible for you to lose.
Well, it's not never fight, but it's like when fights start well, we can continue them. But like I think the one at like Dragon, we actually started losing a bit, so that's where our comp prospers, because it's like, oh, the fight wasn't going well, let's run. But if the fight started going, well, it's like, okay, we can actually stay in this because we actually had good chase and stuff. But it was mostly like when things go bad, we have a good escape button.
And I'm getting onto you.
Like when things go bad, we have a good escape button.
And I'm getting onto you guys why you are so good, and I think it's because of the vision. Like you guys were like no other team in Europe. It's just insane to see how much vision you have at all times. Like, what's your role with that, or you just tell your players to get wards, get side stones, or they do it by themselves?
Yeah, that's my coaching. Guys buy wards. No, I mean, it is really all Kasing and Lulex mostly. They do a lot of work with that. The kind of influence I have with that is a lot of times there's only one way to get vision, and that's either by like grouping or by sending like the jungler support duo to do it together. Because a lot of teams will have someone who knows how to ward, like the support, but the jungler doesn't know how, so now the support can't go out and work because he doesn't have a buddy. So I basically am like, all right, you know you can get vision here. And they're like, yeah, I can get vision here. I'm like, then go together. Like, so I kind of push them to play together more often, I guess.
Yeah, and in this game, it was also essential for you guys to stay together, because if you didn't, that was actually the one time that you ended up losing a fight around Baron, I believe it was. And Hjarnan, you are, of course, an essential component in that comp. How was it playing for you? Because you have all that protection, but it almost feels counter-natural, I can presume, to run in like a Kog'Maw and run so far forward.
Yeah, but with the Lulu speed, and they didn't have a lot of gap closer, so it's pretty easy to just... It's all I need to be afraid of in that team comp is basically Victor's burst. And in their base, when I had 3 inhibs, we wanted to end, I was like, okay, whatever, and I would go a bit YOLO, and then I died. But that was the first time, or the only time in the game I did that. I managed to get caught by Victor, so... But if I don't get caught by Victor, it's like, yeah, it's fine.
So you're playing with essentially 3 supports for you, and your support even went as far as getting a crappy item like Argent Sensor just to boost you a bit more. Like, do you feel like God himself playing with that comp, or do you just feel really nervous because you know all the weight is on your shoulders?
It's not that hard to play Kog'Maw with 3 supports. You just get the speed up from Lulu, you go do 3 autos, 1 guy dead, and yeah. So that's basically it.
Yeah, Kasing also had the Medjais. He didn't get to 20 stacks, though, even though the Fisio predicted he would. Looking ahead for you guys, obviously, that bump in the road yesterday. Next week, you guys are playing Fnatic as well, and it'll be very important in the battle for second place, because you have to win versus them to at least tie the record. So how are you looking forward to the next week, and then playoffs after that, probably?
Hopefully next week we'll get to do a lot of like theory crafting and actually try to bring up something kind of innovative, because if you saw like this week, I think a lot of teams are kind of like shooting in the dark to find out what's good. So in this next week, we're going to try really hard to figure out what's actually OP and what's just like, you know, flavor of the week. And hopefully by next week, we'll figure it out either faster or we'll just figure out something that no one else has yet.
That'll be super exciting to see. Thank you guys very much, and congratulations, H2K. Now, coming up in just a few minutes is a clash between Fnatic and Unicorns of Love. The Unicorns of Love need every win they can get if they want to lock down a playoff spot. So stick around and see what happens.
Yeah, it's good.
But your audio
so
is
low.
absolutely terrible. On the
It's
right
better now.
On the right. My
I
ears
had
is
it.
blown.
You guys can't hear me, or
Oh
I'm
my
too loud?
God.
We can.
Please.
I said yes.
Still alive is JWoww forced away. Horus flashed in for this one. They've got one back. That's a massive Glacial Fissure as H2K get knocked in the air. He's got him with the Glacial Fissure. Kasing is the focus, but nobody's down yet. Absolute Zero being channeled as Nar throws H2K. Mr. Arls gets jumped on by Ryu as the turret lasers are doing the best they can to defend. We do see that Ice Blast getting caught out. Hjarnan's dive all the way to the back. H2K win the game and crush Meet Your Maker's playoff dreams. has historically been known for phenomenal mid laners. Alex Siege, Expeke, and the only one that's left standing, Frog.
Froggen gonna get played in. He's gonna try to get away. Look at that damage, though. They will pick him off, but that's gonna take a while, and they spent so much. Wait a minute! He manages to get power of evil.
I think he's still as good as before. He's pretty hard to face in lane.
Froggen! How does he keep doing that? You can't even blink and you'll miss it.
This season is the first time that the old guard have been shown up by the new young players in the scene.
Oh my goodness. And Fox with a godlike kill just like that.
He comes up out of nowhere with this LeBlanc pick. He goes ridiculous on it.
Me and Fabian, I think we're gonna be like top contenders for like best mid lane in the EU.
We see the right of the arcade. Shots coming out. Flash boomerang. The third one gets a double kill. Forbidden, you are here.
So Soren has become a carry for the Wolves, and we can see how they as a team rely on him.
Soren continues to fight. He's found Steelback. He's looking for Hootie. He's found it. Now he's on to Feathervin. The twin fangs. It's a triple fang. That is Soren going huge.
It's really good, even though I was not known or like I had no fans before.
But here comes Betsy now. Betsy gets one on the board.
Heavens Betsy, 10-0-13. His team had 33 kills. He was involved in 23. No deaths.
This guy's not affected by nerfs, man. 9-0-5. He went perfect.
Well, I think we can be the new generation.
Power of Evil picking up Freddy 1-2-2. A double kill for Power.
I think we have some fantastic names in here of these new guys who can go up there and challenge the best. The question is just, can they keep that level?
Welcome back to the European LCS, where the Unicorns of Love are gearing up to face Fnatic. They'll need to bring their A game if they want to lock in one of the very few remaining spots in the spring playoffs. Let's kick things off looking at the Unicorns of Love roster, who are on the blue side today, with Chachi in the top lane, Kikis in the jungle, Power of Evil playing mid, Vardag's the AD carry, Hillisang the support, and Sheepy the coach. Just quickly as a note, if Unicorns win and Elements lose later today, Unicorns will lock in a playoff spot and be the fourth team to do so.
Yeah, and they looked great yesterday against the Copenhagen. It was a very important win for them, again, to keep in the top 6. Honestly, it was a one-way ticket there. They dominated from the get-go. They had a fantastic composition. We saw the Hecarim top lane for Visi Chachi. Funny enough, a champion Huni also plays. So now there's going to be something going on here. And, of course, Power of Evil had a good game. He's so important for this team here. He needs to do well in the early game, because then they play around him. He got 2 early kills on Syndra against Soren on Karthus, and that's what he used to really dominate the game.
Yeah, one of the things that's really interesting when you look at Unicorns of Love as a team is their contrast between playing teams that are better than them in the standings, teams that are worse than them. Unicorns of Love have a 25% win rate against teams who are lower on the standings, meaning they get shown up, choke, underperform, underprepare, and lose 1 in 4 games. But interestingly, they win 3 in 4 games against teams with better records. In this case, Fnatic with a better record. So if statistics are to be believed, Unicorns have got a good shot here against Fnatic.
It just seems like they need that kind of hype going into a game. And when you play one of the top teams, obviously you don't always expect too much going into the game. And if you get a good start, everyone just gets on a whole new level, and you start believing, and you start making the big plays. And that seems to be the case here for the Unicorns.
Well, let's take a look at their opponents who have already locked in their post-season ticket. It is Fnatic, with Huni in the top lane, Rain over in the jungle, Feathervin in the mid lane, Steelback and Yellowstar, AD carry and support, and of course Daylor the coach. Yesterday, oh, I love it. You just gotta let it ride for a minute. But yesterday, the team comp and the play style seemed 100% on top of the patch.
Yeah.
Fnatic did not go to IEM. It felt like they'd looked at a 5.5 rulebook playbook. They put together the Hecarim, the Zac, the Lissandra, engaged from Annie, and they just went crazy.
It was such a good setup, and it really fits them so well. We heard Reynolds talk about it before, or after the game, sorry, in the interview, how he loves to play tank junglers, and this is the perfect meta for him. He can be at hard engaged, he can be in the front line, and he can play big tanks like Zac. And we also saw like the early game setup from them, where they knew that the winning matchup in the bottom lane. So he went down, he secured the vision in the river, he got a few early wards down, allowed Steelback to play super aggressive and win his lane, which is something we normally don't see from him. So it was just a fantastic early game setup. We've seen it before against SK Gaming. That's how they shut them down the first time around. So they're a smart team now. And this patch should just fit them so well. As long as Huni has enough champions in the top lane with the Hecarim, that's a perfect addition.
There you go.
Then he's going to be fine.
And something just to highlight, 89.5% kill participation for Huni on Hecarim. It was his teleports around the map that got Fnatic rolling, and then it was the slingshots from Rainova that kept them rolling. But just really, really great, solid performance. Let's keep in mind the Fnatic did lose to Unicorns of Love back in week 2. That is a very long time ago. And that was a matchup where Febiven was playing LeBlanc, and all he basically did is kill Hylissang over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
But yes, Unicorns of Love, they're currently in the head-to-head. They've got the advantage. And statistically, Unicorns do well against teams above them.
And that game was the first time we got to see Huni play on a tank. He played Gnar, and he had a terrible game, honestly. Same can be said for Yellowstone, and he couldn't find the right engages. And it seemed like it was just one of those games where nothing really works for you, and it was just a lot of mechanical misplays. For Fnatic, they played the same style as always, where we see, they're fairly chill in the laning phase. There's no way to normally win. But then once you hit this 15 to 20 minute mark, they can start making teleport plays. They can start catching you off with better vision. That's where they really shine. They tried to do the same, but then the late game team fights, we saw these misplays, and the Unicorns, they won.
Well, we're expecting a very aggressive game. Both Fnatic and Unicorns of Love's natural styles is go, go, go.
And hard engage.
I want to see...
kite and no engage.
I want to see what happens in the jungle. Because, of course, yesterday Rainova played Zac. It is actually... it's actually a champion that Fnatic from 2013 played a lot when they were in the playoffs against Gambit, if you go all those years back. But I also like... Yeah, exactly. And I also like the fact that Kikis adapted. He played the Nunu yesterday. Both junglers showing a transition to newer champions. So we need to see, what do these guys prioritize?
Yeah.
Who's going to get their hands on what?
Again, if you look at the comps from the two teams, there's a lot of similar picks. Hecarim for the both top laners played the same style, early home guards into Phage, and you make plays in the mid game. We had, obviously, Annie come in from both supports, same deal. When you have Annie Hecarim together, you can force so many fights. And Graves as the AD carry for both of them. So a lot of champions here on 5.5, at least judging from the first game, is going to be the same. Let's just see who puts the priority where. Who's going to first pick, let's say, an Hecarim top lane here, or is it going to be banned away?
So, Deficio, 3 out of 5 champions that both of these teams ran yesterday were shared. We need to see who has explored other options on 5.5. Unicorns taking away Zed, taking away Rumble. Siva off the board from Vardags.
So with Rumble being banned now, we should expect here Fnatic to go for an early Hecarim if they can. I think they really would value that so highly. We also know Lissandra is a fantastic flex pick for them because Febiven can play it in the mid lane. And despite her being nerfed a little bit, well, I'll talk about Hecarim now, it's been banned. Let's go to the Lissandra instead then for Fnatic. Yeah, so despite her being nerfed a little bit again, it doesn't really matter too much that her wave clear got hit and her early damage. It's about her team fight control, her pick potential, their hard CC, the point and click CC. That's where she really shines. So Fnatic can still go for her in the first rotation and use her as the flex pick.
Let's see what they decide to do. Final ban, Maokai off the table. And a near insta-lock Annie from the Unicorns of Love, taking away one of Yellow Star's most successful champions this split, and giving Hylissang the same pick he ran yesterday.
And the reason people like to take this away from Yellowstar is, first of all, he's one of the main engagers on Fnatic, but also he's so good at roaming early, and people trying to push him on the likes of a Janna and play more defensive, where he can't really impact the map the same way. That's why people like to take Annie away. He has played Leona in the past. That's a counter pick, obviously, to Annie he can go for, but normally, at least the last few weeks, he would go for Thresh instead, because that opens up for more options. You can roam around on a Thresh here, you can skirmish really well, and you can deep ward very easily, because again, you have that Lantern to save your jungler when you're walking in 2 and 2.
We'll find out what Yellow Star decides to prioritize later in the game with Zed off the table. Febiven may get his hands on LeBlanc. In fact, the same mid laner that he ran last time. And Sejuani actually saw a lot of bans yesterday.
Yeah, she's, in my opinion, the best tank jungler at the moment. We got like Rek'Sai and Italy as the top 2 picks in terms of, early pressure, and then you got Sejuani as the best tank, because you can even almost match these guys in the early game. She's just fantastic all around. Seems like no jungle picks though. Graves instead, another one of those contested picks between the two teams. And really Fnatic here already running fantastic strong lanes in Graves and LeBlanc, and we often see this LeBlanc early when Zed is being banned away. Kassadin is back. Buffed a little bit, but he still lost quite a lot of early power, so he's not as strong in this matchup into LeBlanc.
I'm so glad you brought that up because we didn't see him picked or banned yesterday at all.
It's not really a power of evil
And
champion either.
it was surprising across the entire day. One thing I just want to highlight for Febiven on LeBlanc. 2 games played, 1 win, 1 loss. 0 deaths to Fisher. He's gone 14-0-9 across the 2 games. So let's see if Fnatic's teamwork can work better. Kikis will be locking the same jungler as yesterday. And with Graves off the table, Bardax defaults to Caitlyn.
For the Unicorns now, you can still go like Lulu Janna and run a full-on protect your AD carry in the late game. They ran this yesterday just with the Graves instead of a Caitlyn, also still having the Nuna for Kikis. One of the best, another one of the great tank picks now. We've just seen how you can shut down an aggressive early jungler through a great early vision with your Sightstone and just being as annoying as possible on this Nunu. So fairly standard for the Unicorns in this sense, except for Caitlyn. While they have played it a few times, it is a champion where you need to hit that pause button in the mid game. You can't just keep fighting, which is what they like to do. And one of the reasons is Caitlyn hasn't worked too well for them in the past. Because then they don't tend to be the team who dominate early and then, you know, go really late and let Vardak be the big carry. No, they aim to always finish the games as fast as possible. And that's tough with Caitlyn. It's going to be more fast-pushing composition for them.
All right, Pulse, wherever you are in the world, Challenger Caster Pulse is a Nautilus top
Correction. This can still be a Nautilus support.
This is what I was going to say. Is it top lane or is it support? We saw it in support. I'm trying to remember where. It was recent.
Well, Elimination has been spamming it at least in solo queue. So, and I mean, it is a good support pick. I've seen it in solo queue a few times where it always lose horribly because people don't know how to play it. But
Nautilus to me, he's got more CC in his kit than anybody else.
Right. So what you do now is you max your E on him because it was changed. So now it goes down to 5-second cooldown at rank 5.
Oh my word! What is happening?
This is crazy. I mean, this patch, man. Now we're running an old school Yorick Cassiopeia composition where you have this suicide mid laner who just goes bazookas on the enemy team, and then you resurrect her once she dies. I mean, this is a Yorick top lane now from Visichachi. Potentially is Nautilus support, but can also be top lane.
Somewhere in the world, D-Man is crying out in pain as Yorick is locked in for the Unicorns of Love. And for Fnatic, they need to opt. This is either a support pick
They can
or
still
a
go
top
Lissandra
lane
here
pick.
and have an insane amount of engage. Or they could go Janna if they want more protection. A lot of engage is so good against Yorick, against Cassiopeia here. They're targets you can get to fairly easily and shut them down. But again, that would require them to play this Nautilus as a support. There's the Lissandra. I think it's going to be a lock-in. And Fnatic is running an absolutely insane CC comp. Yes, okay, Power Fever is going to be alive twice. But he's going to get locked down twice as well. Very easily by Fnatic here.
Deficio.
This game is insane.
Unicorns of Blood are doing something that we've seen before. We've seen Yorick, we've seen Cassio, we've seen Nunu, we've seen Caitlyn. Fnatic, on the other hand, support Nautilus is very new.
It is very new. It's after the change where you get 5 seconds cooldown on your E here, so you have an insane amount of AoE slow. Obviously, you have an ulti that you can't QSS, so it's going to guarantee to hit its target. So what you do from Yellowstar's side is basically you walk up and you say, okay, let's take Vardax. Ulti on him, you know the Lissandra TP is going to come in, you know the follow-up is going to come from the bank from a Sejuani, and you just blow up that guy. There's nothing he can do to avoid that knockup.
And if Leona does well against Annie, surely Nautilus can do well against Annie too.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the sickest laning phase. It's not terrible in the lane, but it's fine with the Graves here. That's going to be okay for Fnatic. And this Unicorns comp, it's something they ran before they got into the LCS. So it's like a very old school comp for them with the Yorick top lane and Power Fever who can just go crazy in the mid lane and you just resurrect him. So it's a fantastic late game setup. Problem about Yorick and why we don't see him very often is he's so easy to gank in the lane. I mean, he's immobile. He's just running around with his shovel doing nothing. So I expect Fnatic to just go and kill him.
Well, let's find out if Fnatic can do it. Hashtag UOL win. Hashtag FNC win. Let us know who you think will pick up the win. Yorick has always done well when paired with a late game hyper carry. And we saw a very, very scary Cassiopeia in the European Challenger Series just 2 nights ago. Let's see if Power of Evil can get off to a good start. We know where the local fans are. You guys at home, jump on Twitter and let us know where you are.
And despite some new picks with their Nautilus support, this really, once again, is such a good Fnatic composition because you got a strong early game, you got a fantastic mid game through Lissandro, LeBlanc, Graves. They all spike so hard in the mid game once you get 1 or 2 items completed. And you have so much hard engage. If Unicorns of Love don't have proper wards down, they will get engaged on again and again and again. And they will just drop dead instantly. They gotta go full late game in this situation here. And they gotta get to that point where they control around objectives a bit like in the last game. Because Fnatic are just running so much engage.
What I like about the comps, in stark contrast to our first game of the day, the expectations here are going to be significantly high action.
Yes, and we're gonna get to see if Visichachi likes Power of Evil or Vardax the most. There's gonna be 2 guys who's gonna be the targets, and he's gonna sit there with his ulti ready, and I bet you he's gonna give it to Kikis at least once and be like, damn, that was wrong.
I'm gonna cast my mind back in the day when Zen on the Stoic was still covering some games, and one of the terms that he ran for Yorick, Omen of War was angry, Omen of Pestilence was stinky, and Omen of Famine was hungry. QWE in Yorick. And it was always one of my favorite things to hear, because I thought it suited the ghouls' opinions and, you know, moods really effectively.
Yeah, Hylissang trying to set up a small freeze to see if he did it. Yeah, it's gonna slowly push down towards Unicorns of Love now, how he grouped up all the minions, made the focus. The first one coming from Fnatic's wave, so they saw the lane swap. Silbeck's not gonna get the same freeze down here. But again, you can set up a fairly easy dive on a Yorick if he's only level 1 or potentially level 2, sitting under his tower, being all miserable and Yorick-ish.
Yorick-ish. Well, this is a very exciting start to the game. Yellow Star is pretending to be a ward. We'll see how this works out in his favor. We did see Chachi and Kikis holding hands.
He didn't skill anything yet. Is he gonna get Q and wait for this push out here? Hylissang is coming to the mid lane. He's gonna spot Kikis now. Oh! Fibin just jumped forward here. He might be forced to flash.
That's a flash down from Hylissang. Power of Evil has got the burning and the ignite and the poison ticking. Rainover's flashed forward. Now Hoonies even come in for this one from the sideline. We do see the Riptide applying the slow. Fnatic's looking for first blood. Can they find it? 100 hit points to tick through. Power of Evil, no flash available. Febiven, he's flashed, but there's nothing to follow up the Sigil of Malice. That was a wasted summoner, and nobody goes down.
And 4 guys in the middle, and that means Visichachi, he's starting the opening to get down to this bottom lane here and do the one-on-one laning against Steelback. You got early level 2 from the Grump. He's now managed to get level 3 as well, so good start for him. While Huni had to blow his flash, I got 0 CS over 1 CS at this point. Still only level 1. Big disadvantage for him now early on. Fnatic did manage to capitalize on 4 members in the mid lane.
Let's take stock of summoner spells. 1, 2, 3, 4 flashes and an ignite blown for Fnatic. Yellow Star's going to root Chachi in place, but he's going to be very careful.
He's
down to 100 HP. Summoner heal used. Yellow Star overestimating Nautilus's tankiness. And just to wrap that up, flash and exhaust from Power of Evil, flash and ignite from Hylissang. Overall, more summoners spent from Fnatic, especially with that summoner heal trade.
Yeah, and Fnatic at this point, they're gonna have to put Huni up in this top lane together with Rainover and push out the wave, because Vardax is sitting on his own, just freezing. You gotta push that into the tower, make the tower kill the minions and reset the whole thing. Otherwise, they're gonna be in a massive disadvantage in that top lane. Obviously, Yorick is gonna be a bit of a tanky one going into late. And even if he does nothing other than run in your face, he still has an ulti that can win you games. Man, Source is sitting at home clapping right now. Yorick is being played again.
So as waiting to get back into the LCS with Origin, maybe he'll keep playing Yorick. We saw Yorick jungle last year as well. Was it Airwax that ran it?
It was.
I think it was Airwax.
We saw it once for a very good reason.
Once? Okay, right.
It was like one of his solo queue picks. I remember coming in, we kind of hyped it up a little bit. He picked it.
No,
I think it was like 0-5.
There would have been no we hyped it up.
I hyped it up.
There we go.
It's a Yorick jungle, man. All the way back Season 3 Worlds, I remember OMG running it, Loveling. I believe it was playing, not Loveling, it was Pomelo. Oh, he's what? It was Loveling.
It was Loveling at the time.
They keep swapping around, or they kept swapping around. It was Loveling playing it. And destroying Lemon Dogs with it.
Double stun from Hylissang to get some damage onto Steelback. Yellow Star there does have level 3 to his name, but the big story is the CS difference between Vizichachi. 25 to 2. Huni is really being gutted.
It is slowly pushing back towards Huni now, but he's gonna have to wait quite a while before he gets any CS. And also Rainova needs to stay around this lane in case Kiki shows up and forces Huni back. He still has no flash. So that's also why we can see Sejuani currently sitting near the top side. I mean, he needs some help pushing this one out if they want to secure and farm now. Otherwise, he's going to keep falling further and further behind. Yorick is great in a swap in terms of sitting and farming. If you don't push it in and dive him, he will get all this farm here, just using obviously his ghouls from range.
Something we do have to touch on, all those flashes down don't mean a lot because Nunu's not the greatest at ganking. You see the glacial path into the root. Vardags takes a lot of damage, but the support from Hillesang means Rainova is now the one that's in trouble. He did get a decent enough trade and Huni comes out healthy enough.
And a very good read from the Unicorns. They were expecting Fnatic to try and push out this top wave, so they just simply put Hillesang back up there. Also because Vizichachi can handle himself now. Missed from Yellow Star. Look at all the damage he's taking. So Vizichachi is going to be more than happy. He didn't get punished in the swap because of the 4-man dive in the mid lane. Or 4-man gang. And really good start for the Unicorns.
Good damage from Febiven onto Kickers. He's just going to consume a minion and get himself out of there. Picked up that Skirmishers, in fact, as his tier 2 jungle item.
That's a European thing on these Nunos here. It's all about late game, you run to the enemy AD carry, you ice blast him, and you just smite him, and he does no damage to you. That's the whole goal around the skirmishes from Kikis. Now, Dragon has been started by Fnatic because Hillesang showed himself in the top lane, but Power of Evil is here to try and stop him.
This is scary. Level 3 on Yellow Star. Fnatic forced back. No ultimates from the Unicorns of Love yet, but Huni, he's picked the fight he shouldn't have. Gonna slow Hillesang down to 100 HP. Hillesang is chasing. Did have flash, but opted not to jump in. And Unicorns of Love are bullying Fnatic around the map. They've got themselves 1,000 gold advantage. And Huni still yet to get CS, averaging 1 a minute.
And everyone from Fnatic was forced back there except for Febiven after the start of the Dragon, despite knowing that Unicorns had at least 3 guys around it. Very good. You can see how Kik is now saying, okay, I'm gonna... Watch it down.
That somber moment. Let it sink in. He will be back in 6 minutes. And he will be
kill him again.
Wow, dude. That's brutal.
That's how it works.
Alright.
Not fun being the Dragon here.
No, it's not. Dragon number 1 goes to Unicorns of Love. Huni found himself some uncontested farm.
And also Power of Evil here. Yesterday. Well, let's just see what happens first.
Oh,
is here again.
that was a great petrifying gaze. Catches Febiven the moment he jumps in. Power of Evil.
Insane.
Famine or feast. He either wins the game for his team or is non-existent, and that's the way to start.
Such a sick ulti. I mean, this is obviously the Cassiopeia master. Power of Evil, and he built Luden's Echo, the new item, yesterday in Syndra. It is even better on this champion for him. I think he's gonna go for it again now. He has the T already. That could be his next pickup. But now
Huni catches 2! The shard catches them both! Power of Evil's down! Fnatic look for Hillesang. He's down! The Omen of Death onto Hillesang. We have the ghost of Annie's past throwing out fireballs. Not the greatest on the first usage for that one. But I'll give Chachi the benefit of the doubt.
Hey,
he'd lost Power of Evil earlier.
We said there would be action when Fnatic plays, and when they didn't run like 4 types of engage on their composition, they ganked the mid lane first. Now, second gank here, 2 kills. Steelback is swapped to that top lane with a massive wave. He's gonna get pushed in, but Yorick is back. Now another gank onto Vardags.
Vardags is in trouble. Febiven, he dashes forward, he lands the chains. Vardags is going to get rooted, but here comes the TP from Huni. Can they get more? Kickers, manages to get Vardags a couple steps longer, but it's not enough. All of a sudden, Steelback is in trouble. Hillesang stuns him up. The collateral damage was thrown down. Summoner heal used, flash still available. Steelback forced to run away. Chachi low on mana. He's flashed forward for this one. The Ghoul's not tanking it. Hillesang does not connect. We do see the hook land. Yellow Star stuns him up, but there's no depth charge to follow it up. Steelback is low on HP, but both of them low on mana. And that dredge line connecting, but not doing enough work for Yellow Star and Fnatic.
Man, I love these two supports here. Just roaming everywhere to the mid lane, to the side lanes, trying to set up a few kills. TP was used by Huni before to at least get an assist in the bottom lane, and obviously February ends up dying to Power of Evil. Now he's jumping in again. I still want to see that Luden's Echo on a Cassiopeia. You keep moving, you keep spamming, you get it to proc so many times. It's a great early item.
And we'll see how early Power of Evil can pick it up. Tower number 1 will be falling in a moment or two as Fnatic making up, I think, for some small mistakes early.
For sure.
Got themselves a kill advantage, a tower advantage, and actually bringing themselves back into it. If you look at the gold on Huni with those 3 assists and a little bit of CS, he's actually even in gold with his opposite number, Vizicachi. I think that's important considering how shut down he was for the first 8 minutes of the game.
Yeah, very important with these assists and the early tower. I like how they used Steelback here on Graves. Really found honestly some success on this champion in the early game, which he didn't have on Corki. Yesterday he looked great on Graves. Now same here when he's swapping him around. Hillesang is back down to this bottom lane. He cannot sit still.
Look at the mini-map. Rainover, he does have the option to go over that wall. Glacial Prison is available, but decides not to use it. And we do see Cinderhulk has been completed for Rainover, so that clear speed will be rapidly increased.
No flash. Oh, managed to dance around. The Fnatic keeps staying around the jungle in here. Looking for Kikis now. Should be able to find him. Oh, nice flash.
I do think they do. Where is the prison? Not needed yet. The dredge line catches Kikis. That's a petrifying gaze onto Fnatic, but Kikis should still fall. I lied to you. He's managed to get away.
No, he didn't.
We did see Peppermint go down in the mid lane. Power of Evils got 2. Continues to chase through, and it did look like the Ignite dropped Kikis in the back line. 2 for 2. This is fun.
We got 3 kills on a support Nautilus. The first time we've seen now in Europe for Yellowstar. It's been roaming around. Obviously the problem is you're not really going to get too many points in your W early, so you're still going to be fairly squishy. But we see the amount of CC he brings. I mean, I think Nautilus is the champion with the most CC in the game. Just like from his passive, the one hit, the Eve, the slow, and oh, Tables on the Steelback. He's fine.
Well, that hurt. That was a painful Tibbers. Might result in the tower. Here's a replay. Good luck to Fishio.
Alright, so flashing first. That was nice. And they're going, so they lock him down, but they don't really again want that Nuno here. It's about getting to Power of Evil, so it's a good ulti from both Kikis and Power of Evil. A lot of damage, and that's why they trade 2 for 2, and of course Huni, as always, joining the team whenever they're fighting. He's never gonna let them fight alone. The Holo Master, and 2 for 2 trade.
I have to admit, Power of Evil looks terrifying already. And he's
even
not even
worse laking.
He's not even built AP, right?
Yeah.
That's the scary thing. So we need to see how effectively Power of Evil can bring himself into this matchup. The only problem is Unicorns are hemorrhaging towers.
It is expected though here. Once we move to the mid game again, you have double tier, so you obviously need to stack those first. They make you a bit weaker in the mid game, and you're against a Graves, against a Lissandra and a LeBlanc. So it is expected for the Unicorns to fall behind now. As long as they keep it to this kind of goal deficit, it's okay. Problem is Fnatic obviously gonna look for way more. They already got 2 out of turrets. Mid lane dropped down before, and the bottom one is the last one. So just put Steelback back down there, pushing the wave, and roam in with 4 guys like they've done before. Because you can keep contesting, visioning around the jungle of Unicorns when there's like a Nuno, because Nuno doesn't offer anything in terms of the fights. So you can very safely walk into the jungle, place a few deep wards, and then you can walk down behind the dragon to the bottom lane. 4 guys really quickly, and force that tower down.
If Fnatic decide to do that, quick touch and CS differences as Huni is evened up with Vizicachi. Featherman takes an ace in the hole. As Fnatic look to start the dragon. This is a little bit risky. You can see Huni's not there. Teleport will be available in a moment.
It's fine.
But Chachi's a mile away and nobody from Unicorns is responding.
But again, Unicorns, they don't want to fight right now. You're stacking tiers. I mean, look at the Yorick. You have a Ruby Crystal and a Dawn's Blade. That's your combat stats. I mean, that's nothing. So they need way more time.
Oh,
Good
Vardax
from Fnatic here, and Vardax, he's in trouble. There's the ulti.
Charge is going to knock him up. The prison's going to lock him down. Rainover's going to flash forward. Hillesang and Vardax are going to get away. And they get the teleport from Vizicachi. Now Huni is in a little bit of trouble. Got to be careful as he does make it away.
Oh, he stepped on a trap. Never mind, I got hyped for nothing.
Got excited. Well, we're both getting excited in this one. 5-3. Power of Evil going to punish Fnatic being down in the bottom lane by taking the mid tower. Second one of the game and evening up that goal difference.
So we saw Fnatic try and do what we just mentioned, how you can very quickly move to that bottom lane, force a kill, and then take the tower. Problem was it backfired because Vardak stayed alive, used all his summoners, and then the mid lane were left open. This is very important for the Unicorns. They keep getting global gold in this mid game while they're still stacking up to the late game. They want to try and get a kill on Reignover, not going to happen. But look at Vardak here.
Snake bites don't kill bears.
Good point. 0-1-0. Caitlyn doesn't kill bears either, or people. In this case, you haven't gotten to use your early game power. You are very weak in the mid game. So Vardax is not going to offer a whole lot. This is going to be all about Power of Evil with the early kills. Febvin will even be able to get some damage.
I really don't think Vardax likes Febvin. That's 2 ace in the hold back to back. Not going to result in a whole lot of pressure. We do see Huni trying to wave clear as best as he can. Got that Morella Nomicon completed. And the supports are running, but look at the damage that Chachi's putting with those ghouls. Constantly throwing out those omens of famine over and over and over. Sustaining and poking Huni out, who's got no armor yet.
Basically, he's rolling his head over the keyboard because he's playing Yorick. And he's just spamming everything.
What was the technical term? Face roll, I believe?
Face rolling?
That's a phrase I have not heard in a while.
Because you haven't seen Yorick in a while.
That's also true. I'll have a look. Yellow Star, he's really enjoying cosplaying a ward. Chilling in the enemy jungle. And saying, oh, that's a flash Tibbers! Huni's in trouble and Huni's down! Holo's out! Chachi and Hillesang now looking to set up on the tower. That was honestly an easy pickup.
Yeah, I think after that tower got down to the bottom, it's not over, no. Reignover.
Oh, Glacial Prison missed again. Reignover didn't connect. Kikis has thrown Blood Boil, flashed forward and Ice Blast Huni in the face. Look for the dredge line. That'll knock Vardags up. Flash, buckshot, collateral damage available. One more hit. Does land. Steal back. Bounces one in reply. 2 for 1. Unicorns get the tower. Good luck, Deficio.
Again, there's a lot of things happening here. I'm not really too sure. But it's still worth it for the Unicorns. They got obviously the 2 kills, and they got another tower, more global gold for them. Fnatic, though, they're teleporting in now. And Yellow Star is on his way northward.
Here we go again. Round 27. Yellow Star's looking for a target. His dredge line kickers as Chachi will be the first focus. Feathervin plus Huni get the kill. Absolute 0 channels. And Feathervin goes 2-2-2. Fnatic respond. Find Unicorns out of position. Grab themselves 2 uncontested kills.
Yeah. They did. I mean, I don't even know, man. We're 18 minutes in and everyone is just dying left and right. They keep roaming around. I mean, have we had a laning phase in this game? Or has it just been pure roaming from the start?
Dude, it ended at like 1 minute 30 with a 4-man dive onto Power of Evil.
So, now all outer turrets are gone. It's an even battlefield. We've seen 2 supports roaming. So far, Yellow Star gotten the better of it. 3 kills, 4 assists. Going Righteous Glory as well on this Nautilus. So we'll get quite a lot of HP, which obviously works well with W there. There's the Luden's Echo.
Here an Echo from Echo. Why do you like Luden's Echo on Cassiopeia?
Well,
whoa, hold on.
Let's talk about that after, yeah.
Feathervin plus Huni. This is scary. Oh, Snake got bitten. Exhaust comes out, and look at the scary thing. Despite the blind check, Feathervin almost got taken out.
So the reason I like it, first of all, you already get a lot of movement speed from your Q. At the 7% as well from it. Great. More movement speed, dodge around. Perfect. Second, you stack it so fast because every spell is 20 stacks on it. So whenever you sit there and you just spam your Twin Fang, it goes up so fast and you get more procs from it. And even if you put down your W and people step into it, they're going to get that proc and take the damage. So there's so many things working for Power Viewer with that one item. Obviously makes him extremely squishy. So he's going to have to rely on being together with the team and visit Chachi here to get to use it as often as possible. Otherwise, he's just going to drop dead every time. Fnatic now, because they got their kill, pushing in. We talk about this strong mid-game they do have. So that's why they're in the lead, despite the Unicorns getting quite a lot of towers early on.
Oh,
There's
that's
another ult from Yellow Star.
As well as the death charge. Did not want that one. Spider Nautilus runs away with the giant hook. Don't really know why.
I'm not sure that's how this song goes.
Yeah, that was a bit bad. I'm getting a bit excited here. Flash is blown. We do see Unicorns of Love with a positional. That was a Tibbers onto Huni. Stuns him up, but after the Glacial Path, Unicorns, they're hammering away on the inner turret. We do see Reina, but Glacial Prison available. Does he want to throw it up? The answer seems to be no. Here comes the rest of Fnatic from behind. Remember, no depth charge available.
Oh, he got
the charge
three,
for 3. Power of Evil tries to put some damage in reply. It's in fact Kickers that goes down first. Yellowstar pulling the attention on the backline while Featherfin and Steelback being zoned away by the Ghost of Christmas Past. We did see Power of Evil get given the Omen of Death, and the Unicorns of Love come out with a fantastic team fight. 2 for 4, and that's how Yorick plus Cassio works.
Yeah, and Fnatic with the engage.
Look at that, the Power Rangers are even in the house.
I want to see that engage again. Not sure how Fnatic managed to lose it, because they got a pretty good ulti from Raynova. We're supposed to just blow up these targets and then you disengage away or kill the Ghost a second time. But Unicorn's getting everything they want. You have a fed Power of Evil, step 1 for him to win. You have a dead support, that's not step 2 by the way, but by having that fed mid laner with a Yorick ulti, that's enough clearly to win fights for them, because Vardax is sitting on Vintage on a Caitlyn. I mean, it's not really him, he's just pushing a tower. All he's gonna do, but Dragon, it's gonna be started, but it might not be secured because the rest of Fnatic is coming.
Holy moly.
And they only have one thing to do, and that's keep going in.
Chucky's gone. He gets caught by the dredge line, rooted by Hooney. Featherfin pops him. Dragon goes to Unicorns of Love. Hooney's looking for more. He doesn't have the ability to lock anybody up. Glacial Tomb on cooldown, not even needed. Kickers throwing out the laugh emote. And Fnatic get 2 kills, but they lose the Dragon. Are they seriously going Baron?
Well, the thing is, you have top lane pushing down here, so Unicorn's got to go and protect that one. And if they do go to stop this Baron, you don't have the Yorick ulti this time for Power of Evil, and you still have so much engaged on Fnatic's side here. They can start the Baron and quickly just stop it and turn around and engage on the Unicorns.
We'll see if they do that. Glacial Prison and Tomb is available. Unicorns of Love are putting some poke down. Yellowstar eats the ace in the hole, throws out the dredge line. They've got Power of Evil. He did get the stun down. The petrifying gaze was out. Fnatic need to be careful. They're low on HP as Baron helps to at least put some damage on the back line, but it's a 2 for 0. The Unicorns stop the Baron. That is important to note.
So Fnatic got what they wanted, some more kills here by just forcing that Baron. And now, okay, this is just the Baron fight. There's been like 3 or 4 fights already we haven't even got to see. So Power of Evil, I mean, look at the damage he can do.
Is that a 4-man, 3 or 4-man petrifying gaze?
There was a lot of people.
Oh my word.
Wow, did it just start? Okay, so Yorick is tanking it now. You can see it on the pip here. Vardax trying to kill the guy. No, now Raynova's here.
Raynova's here. He's got smites available. He's down. Absolutely kill with channels. Baron is still alive. Baron, no, it's Unique that goes down. Nunu taken out as Yellowstar and Steelback look to clean up the house. Mizuchachi already threw out that Omen of War onto Kikis. Baron secured by Unicorns. 2 for 2 trade in the fight. And Featherfin, Yellowstar, they're not done. 23.5 minutes into the game. We have got 29 kills on the board. 5 towers to 3 in favor of Unicorns. Unicorns with a Baron buff.
Yes, Trevor. Yes. And as predicted, we're gonna get a Yorick ulti on that Nuno. That was smart. He got to consume the Baron for Kikis. Alright, okay, so let's look at it here. Unicorns at this point are strong enough to team fight as long as they don't all get blown up instantly from the engage of Fnatic. We've seen the damage Power of Evil can do in 2 rounds. They also have fantastic ability to fast push a tower with Nuno Caitlyn. If they do manage to group 5 people on that one tower, where Fnatic on their side, it's all about getting that jump. Look at the damage, I mean, that was the Luden's Echo, an E and a Q for Power of Evil, 50%.
Well, Power of Evil's got his hands onto that blue buff, forced Featherfin away. The rest of Fnatic reeling as they deal with the pressure that Power of Evil's putting on the map.
Yeah, really, the scary thing is, this is so good for the Unicorns because they have survived that mid-game from Fnatic. They got a Baron from it. They're just slightly behind in gold as well. Fantastic situation when you consider how good the late game comp is going to be.
Now let's see what they can do with this. 3 members still with Baron. They're pushing down the bottom lane. Fnatic not in a position to fight and no teleport from Hooney yet. Tower safely secured by Unicorns of Love. Fnatic simply did not want that one. Let's see if they can find an engage. Base gates on the side lane can actually be used quite effectively with the Sejuani. If Rainover wants to go that route. Also, with Yellowstar, he's got that Righteous Glory picked up. An additional HP and lots of HP stacking. Love the animation of Luden's Echo.
Trying to get his W to at least give him a bit of a shield. Not skilling it up here, doesn't need the damage from it. Instead, you need less cooldown on your E, which is the first one he maxed. But again, the people want to play Nautilus support, max your E first, roam around the map because you have fantastic ganks early on, and you can also engage a fight.
Well, let's see what they do. Huni decides not to follow in with the Glacial Path. Kikis is being chunked out by Rainover, and Rainover's taking damage in return. Inhibitor will fall. Fnatic have not gone all in for this one. Super minions secured in favor of the Unicorns of Love. Fnatic unable to find the opening they were looking for. Huni still does not have that hourglass. That's a whole lot of don't go there pings.
Pretty wisely, but man, the Unicorns have been so good at trading objectives here. Every time Fnatic dove them somewhere and took a tower, they managed to respond elsewhere and keep it even early on. And then, of course, all the dragon fights going on and Power People getting these early kills has really just been fantastic for them. Doesn't even have a fully stacked tier yet on the Yorick. He's been pretty slow, sitting on 700 mana at this point. Inhibitor down. Fnatic is gonna have to try and find and engage. Place a pink ward around this wall where you see this ward is being placed by the Unicorns, and you have a flank opening if you want to start the bank. They did just place the pink ward as well, so that's where you're gonna get your opening from to start the fight there. Vizicachi is gonna die.
Well, Vizicachi throws down the omen of death on himself.
And
not
Chachi.
the way Unicorns want this team comp to work, but now Power of Evil's in place. He's looking for an engage. Huni does not follow up on the E. Waiting for Vizicachi's ghost to time. It just has. Fnatic, numbers advantage, but unwilling to commit further. You never want to walk into a Cassiopeia. Fnatic wisely back away. I want to touch on something really quickly, Deficio. If Fnatic lose this game, it will be tied with H2K for that second place position at 11 wins, 5 losses, which would set up that Fnatic H2K battle next week as a potential second place decider. There is a lot on the line here for the current number 2 team in Europe.
TB from Vizicachi here. They don't want to give up this dragon. There's no ulti just yet. Unicorns really want that one ready. It's a very important part of their comp here. Look at the top wave pushing in. If they force Fnatic to stay around this dragon, those minions will do a lot of damage. It might even just abandon it, go straight for this top lane, or bottom lane, sorry, instead. If you got the Nuno Cave lane, you can destroy these towers.
Well,
also set you up to be flanked though. Got a few good wards on the side, and now you have nowhere to go.
Okay, let's see who comes out ahead. Yellowstop does not connect with the dredge line. Huni, he's got in. That's a flash W. He's called Power of Evil. Collateral damage is going to be shielded away by the Archangel shield. Steelback is down. Power of Evil soloed him. Featherman being forced away. The exhaust burned through his damage. Despite the fact Power of Evil is down, he is still managing to wreak havoc thanks to that Ghost of Christmas Past. Rainover is looking for the supports of Hillisang, and he finds him, but the Battle Bear is down. Power of Evil finds another one. 2 for 4, and the Unicorns set their sights on another inhibitor turret.
Such a good fight. Again here, all the focus from Fnatic is on Power of Evil, and it doesn't even matter because once he goes down, he's back. That's a perfect score when you have a Yorick. You died 6 times, but you got 7 kills, so you've done your job, and they're pushing in for the finish.
Well, it looks like they can. Unicorn's chance erupt. Huni has to pull off a godlike defense. He's got the support of Yellowstar. They've caught Kikis, but he flashes away. Yellowstar unable to find another target. Unicorns get a Nexus turret, but Fnatic hold on by the skin of their teeth.
Baron up in 50 seconds. Last time Fnatic tried to start it, they baited Unicorns into for a few picks. See it again though, so Engage coming in. Huni getting a lot of CC down and the Hourglass, but notice here, Power of Evil. He's still very healthy. Ignore the replay, people died, now more people are gonna die.
Kikis.
Well, one guy.
Hey, you're not wrong.
Oh,
Chachi's caught up by Featherman. What can Chachi do? Omen of Death not available, so unable to ult himself. Right.
Is it Baron time again?
Unicorns get Dragon, Fnatic gets 2 kills. I saw this movie last time. It didn't end well for Fnatic.
Ah, okay. Was it a good movie though?
Well, if you're a Unicorns fan, they stopped the Baron and got kills. So, I guess it depends which camp you lie in, Deficio.
Well, we had all the fans cheering for Huni earlier. So I've heard a few people call out for the Unicorns. So, Baron is going to be started. Just respawn. Look at that fancy animation. And now we're going to kill him.
Let's see. How quickly can Unicorns respond? Do they even want to? The answer appears to be no. No vision in the pit. Nowhere near. And Fnatic, dare I say it, regain control? Until their inhibitor respawns, no, I don't think that's fair.
Have anyone really been in control in this game?
Okay, that's fair.
Like
You know what?
minute one?
You know what? I take it back. I take it back. I take it back.
No, you have a point though. You have a point. They got the Baron now. Small goalie, that doesn't really matter anything at this point because we've already really gotten to that late game point. Vardax has basically just been killing towers all game long, while Power of Evil has been killing Fnatic as often as he could. And the Yorick pick so far has been working. The old school Unicorns comp, they used to run this again before they got into the LCS, before anyone really knew who the Unicorns were. Now we all know exactly what they are.
Well, Fnatic have a penchant for playing bloody games. The record for most kills in a matchup in the spring split was 50, and it was Fnatic versus the Copenhagen Wolves, Officio. We're currently getting closer and closer to that. 38 on the board. I think 12 more could be. So we've had a Power Ranger in the audience, we've had OG and Cake Fan, and we've had this sign is useless. I love you guys, that's awesome.
See?
Yay! Oh, there's a few. So Fnatic, 32 minutes on the clock, small gold lead, got Baron, and their inhibitors respawned. Officio, can you make sense of what their next step would be?
Well, I like what they've been doing now to set up the bottom lane minion wave. You can see how they're slowly pushing up, but they need to start grouping because the Unicorns are not exactly running any way of well, never mind that. Kasuni, he's getting jumped.
Hylissang's in trouble, he's down, but where is Power of Evil? Down to 50% HP. Omen of Death not been used yet as Huni is out in the background. Power of Evil's
There's no ulti from Chachi.
No Power of Evil. Chachi was out of position. Steal back and Fnatic have found 4. Kickers in full retreat. A 1-for-4 trade and a Baron buff minion. Fnatic beyond the inhibitor turret. They're pushing through.
Minions are coming here. You can see they're pinging them on the minimap. They got the Baron still trying to push in. It's just a lonely Nunu trying to defend. Is it enough? Can Kiki scare them away?
Fnatic, they're waiting. They've got minions. I don't know if it's enough. 15 seconds before Chachi is up. Vardax getting closer. Kikis is trying to pull attention, but it's not enough. The Nexus turret is down. Hylissang's in place. He needs to have a magic stun, but he's not going to because he's in trouble. Featherman continues to focus the turret. Hylissang is down. The Nexus turret is down. They're onto the Nexus. Fnatic look like they're done it at 33 minutes. Fnatic are taking down the Unicorns of Love.
No!
A few more hits.
What?
What? I cannot understand this game. Unicorns of Love.
It wasn't
defend their Nexus.
Kikis and Hylissang together. Managed to stop for long enough. Okay, so let's see the engage from before. Chachi didn't manage to get down his ulti. He gets stunned at first. All the focus now is on Huni. Hylissang goes down. Where's the ulti from Chachi? Not there yet. He's not CC'd. Power of Evil is still alive. He's the guy we're looking at. Simply just no reaction there. He got pulled in the end, and that's why they lose the fight. But the manly Nuno, and then Hylissang got in there, and now they got him. So now another fight.
Oh. Okay, Vardax down. 5v4. There are supers to deal with in the middle lane. And Fnatic may want to use a numbers advantage. It's a couple of love taps. That's all Fnatic needs.
Don't have Xpeke anymore though to backdoor that one, but they're going in again.
Oh, that's a petrifying gaze. They've got 2. Power of Evil is down.
The was down though.
And Chachi are trying to get away. We do see the Omen of Death. What can Power of Evil do from beyond the grave? He's caught Steel back. But that is the most number of kills we've seen in the spring split. 14 minutes quicker than before. Yellow Star,
the back door.
I've seen this before. It happened at Worlds, and it didn't go in Fnatic's favor. Will their fate be different? Nexus is going down. Huni's TP'd in. Hold, it's what Fnatic are cheering. We see Reignovers down. Huni is down. It's happened again. Officio, it's happened again. Fnatic are not able to defend the Nexus. They've got supers barreling down the mid lane. What can the super minions do?
Get that super minion! Okay. Someone call
Fnatic.
Peke. We need Peke in here, man. Otherwise that Nexus is
So
never
listen,
gonna die.
listen, 5.5. We changed turret health, we changed turret shields. Rito, please. Nexuses are too damn tanky.
Alright, another engage. This time though, Chachi gets down to ulti before Power of Evil dies. That's the important one, because notice as soon as he goes down, Fnatic starts running away from him. They don't try and kill the ghost, they just keep trying to kite him. Kicking joints in, Steelback goes down. No CC to lock Power of Evil or anything. And you can see how the rest of Fnatic are saying, we're done fighting, we're just gonna try and kill that Nexus. This is support Nautilus though, with like 0 damage. And obviously the teleport from Huni as well. Unicorn's got the 4th dragon, only 1 for Fnatic. It is still not over, everyone is alive. What Summoners do we have? Vardax no flash, Power of Evil no flash. A lot of flashes down for the Unicorns. Same thing said for Fnatic, so basically there's been a lot of fights.
I have no idea what to think anymore. Fnatic with that Nexus, again, just flashbacks, and we were touching on that team fight. 50 kills was the number to beat. It was Fnatic Wolves last time, Fnatic Unicorns of Love. Blown that out of the water, 14 minutes quicker, 6 kills more. And it all comes down to Power of Evil. Can he take out Fnatic? He's got 2 lives to do it if Chachi hits the right buttons. Because we've seen what happens when Chachi doesn't. The Unicorns are on the aggressive.
And they got minions coming, sitting here, just trying to push this one into the Nexus, forcing Fnatic back, and then you can just quickly go down once these minions hit the bottom lane tower. You got that Nunu, Blood Boy and the Caitlyn. That tower's gonna die extremely fast. Engage, potentially, no. Oh, yeah, they're going in.
Rainover's thrown in the Glacial
Nothing
Prism,
gets you
but
on.
there's no support to follow it up. Dredge line is still up for Yellow Star, as is the Tomb from Huni. Kikis low on mana, low on hit points, down to a 3rd. Unicorns of Love continuing the siege. They are unrelenting. There is 1 Nexus turret standing, and the Unicorns say, we will have it. Oh, it's Fnatic caught out. Feathervid's in trouble. We see that Kikis is dropped as he was channeling his absolute 0. Dredgeline knocks up multiple people, but Chachi forced to use that Omen of Death on himself. Double kill for Steelback. What can Feathervid and Steelback do? Vardax and Power of Evil alive. We do see the Dredgeline connects with Hillisang. Look at the carries. They're both rooted in place. Hourglass keeps Huni alive as we see Yellow Star taken out. This is a 2-3 versus 3 in the base. Feathervid is down. It is all
Steelback and Huni now.
Steelback and Huni. The Nexus is standing. Steelback has got Hillisang. He's critting massively onto Vardax. But Vardax and Power of Evil, they are pushing with the minions. Huni on full HP to Fisher. Will they go in? Glacial Path. We do see the shard connect, but look at the auto attacks. Power of Evil's got him. Can Power of Evil turn it around?
Can he get Vardax?
From Steelback. He can't find Vardax. Steelback is looking for Power of Evil. Unicorns have done it. Unicorns have beaten Fnatic. I have nothing more to say.
That was such an awesome game to watch, man. Oh, coming from a fairly slow game 1 into this, such a difference. Or when it is 2 teams who just love to fight left and right. I mean, at minute 1, we had the first setup for a mid lane dive or mid lane gang. It happened, nobody died. And there was no laning phase. I mean, that was out of the window. It was just non-stop roaming around. Nautilus support showing how good he can be early game at roaming, but then also showing the power of a Yorick, guys. Get playing Yorick and Soldier now. Get home and play Yorick. Obviously, you want to watch this first. Yorick is the new thing. When you have Power of Evil, at least in the mid lane.
Taking down Feathervid, man on screen. Steelback doing everything he could, but it just wasn't enough. I have never shoutcasted a more exciting game. 64 kills in 38 minutes. Blowing the kills per minute. Total kills records out of the water. And this is so important for Unicorns in that tight race to secure a playoff spot. A win against the top of the table team is worth its weight in gold, and so important for Fnatic.
Yeah.
They are now tied with H2K. We are set up for a potential tiebreaker battle between H2K and Fnatic next week. Fnatic look heartbroken.
twice you were at the Nexus. And you almost had it down. I don't even know what the HP was. You're talking about 100 HP at that Nexus. And you didn't get it. And Nunu stopped you from finishing the game.
You know what? You look at Fnatic, right? I don't care what year you were in. I don't care what tournament you were watching. Fnatic plus Nexus equals awesome. Fnatic against SK from Katowice 2013. Fnatic at Worlds last year. Fnatic this year. It doesn't matter the players. They're epic. And of course, Huni...
Taking pictures, hugging the fans. Fantastic.
5-7-21 on that Lissandra. Great play. And such an exciting game from two massive fan favorites.
For sure. Honestly, love the game. From the start of the roaming to this. I didn't even have to say anything because they were just fighting non-stop.
I'd like to make a formal apology to anybody listening to that because
You went a bit crazy with the whole.
I may have screamed a little bit, but yeah, that genuinely is the most exciting game that I've had the pleasure of shoutcasting.
But isn't it fantastic? We're watching video games and we go all crazy, we jump around.
Fnatic and Unicorns. Unicorns now 9-7, Fnatic 11-5.
Yeah.
I want to just reiterate what we said all the way back at the beginning of the game. If Gambit beat Elements at the end of today, Unicorns of Love are now guaranteed a playoff position. The only team that beat an LCS squad in the promotion tournament last year in Europe to join in, to join the LCS, and they are inches away from securing their first playoff.
And what do you do when you face Unicorns in a best out of 5? Because you got like a list of probably 50 picks, and you're like, okay, they could run this comp, we don't want to play against that. There's the second one here, and then...
Ok, les amis, quel game! Quel game! Oh my god! Alors moi, grand fan de Fnatic, j'ai adoré cette game et j'adore les Unicorn of Love parce qu'ils prennent les LCS vraiment comme un terrain de jeu, même si c'est pas les tops, tu vois, et je trouve ça génial parce qu'au final ils arrivent vraiment à être très bons dans le classement au final, hein, parce qu'ils sont vraiment... là ils viennent de remonter encore une place là, donc c'est vraiment très bien. Fnatic qui sont assez sécures au niveau du classement pour les playoffs, et qui honnêtement là jouent autant pour que pour les résultats. Je pense même que là sur cette game ils ont joué plus pour le spectacle que pour les résultats, ça s'est vu. Ils ont très bien réagi parce que UOL a fait une très bonne early game. Une Cassiopeia qui était absolument insane, hein, vraiment elle était vraiment insane, elle faisait énormément de dégâts. Phoebeven lui qui a un main très solide, c'est rare de le voir vraiment en danger. Waouh, j'ai pris une baffe en regardant cette game, j'ai vraiment pris énormément de plaisir à la regarder. J'espère que vous avez pris autant de plaisir que moi. Et en tout cas, très grosse game. Je pense pouvoir dire que c'est peut-être la plus belle game des LCS qui m'a été donnée de voir, même si Copenhagen Wolves contre les Fnatic, encore une fois, était une game... Non, c'était contre... Non, pardon, Copenhagen Wolves contre Elements, qui était une game absolument géniale aussi. Sinon, mais là, vraiment, c'était génial. Bon, je vous laisse donc pour ce soir pour la rediff. Si vous voulez avoir plus, par exemple, l'interview de Viscachi, là, par exemple, par Shots, je vous laisserai aller voir sur LoL eSport, sur YouTube. N'hésitez pas à venir checker notre site Team Hazeryon si ça vous intéresse. Effectivement, là, on fait juste de la rediff. Le but n'est pas de faire de la pub, mais juste de partager du contenu. Mais si par hasard, vous voyez donc cette vidéo... N'hésitez pas à passer sur notre site si vous êtes intéressé par une communauté française de jeux, de passionnés, d'e-sport. Là pour le coup je fais pas de shotcast sur ces games là parce que j'adore les shotcasts. J'adore Quickshot et entre autres des Ficio, etc. Enfin j'adore vraiment les shotcasters anglais et enfin anglais entre guillemets puisque là ils étaient pas anglais mais... Bref, j'adore vraiment ces shotcasts et les LCS et voilà. Gros plaisir, là on revoit la scène, là c'est terrible quoi. Oh là là, c'est terrible. Oh là là, peut-être que si les Yellow Star avaient tapé un tout petit peu plus, il aurait peut-être pu. Oh, ça s'est joué tellement à rien du tout. Oh là 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 là. Enfin bref, c'était vraiment génial. Allez, je dois bouger, je dois libérer l'antenne. Donc, bref, j'ai adoré. Très très bonne game. Et je vous laisse. Bonne soirée les amis, à la prochaine. Et peut-être à tout à l'heure si je refais un live d'ici là.